in all lands and all ships at sea. From the east to west, down under to the lowlands and beyond. We are happy and distracted slaves. Hear our Gitmo Nation song.
Kamala, chameleon. You'll smoke a bowl, but won't let prisoners go. No parole. Kamala, chameleon. How many homo sapiens did your family own? Joe Biden's brain is on a vacation boy. When he speaks, it makes you wonder. He doesn't even know what he wants to say. And we know he likes the girls a whole lot younger. Biden's gonna lose to 45. There's nothing anyone can do. Democrats won't survive.
Remember when she gave that speech and she got paid to say a little, all in total 250 grand? So, she did it, of course, and it sounded worse and worse, and I think she was completely out of her mind.
Because we feel that together we can change the world. And we know we can. So here, I am a mental health advocate.
And Canada should take them away, haha. Canada should take them away, haha. Yee-oh.
To the Yukon and feed them maple syrup with some Eskimos, but Canada should take them away, haha.
He thought it was a joke, and so he stalled. He stalled when he was asked how much money his mama made to speak. Right? He knows he stalled. We heard him stall. He stalled and stalled and stalled, and then he stalled. But we know he's utterly corrupt. Right?
Again, how much money total have your brother, mother, and spouse received from this organization?
That information has been publicly shared. I will highlight.
Well, then you know who it is.
My mother
How much?
has
Just the dollar figure.
throughout her life.
The dollar figure, Prime Minister.
Canada should take them away, haha. Canada should take them away, haha. Yee-oh.
Here's Jim Carrey painting with Celine Dion, but Canada should take them away, haha.
Hey everybody, we're back with Senator Kamala Harris.
What were you listening to when you was high? What was on? What song?
Oh my goodness. Oh yeah, definitely Snoop. Tupac.
First question, would you like to join the ticket? In those debates, you landed haymakers on Joe Biden. His teeth were like chiclets all over the stage.
What were you listening to when you was high? What was on? What song?
Oh my goodness. Oh yeah, definitely Snoop. Tupac.
I believe you that you're fully supportive of him. You guys seem to be pals.
It was a debate.
What were you listening to when you was high? What was on? What song?
Oh my goodness. Oh yeah, definitely Snoop. Tupac.
Hey everybody, we're back with Senator Kamala Harris. His teeth were like chiclets all over the stage.
But honestly, let me just tell you something. It was a debate.
They're experimenting on the public.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I'm not allowed to go to the supermarket in twos, then.
Shut up, slave.
These large parties are unsafe.
COVID-19 was called COVID-19 because it's 19 years since the last bloody disaster was made up. Just a reset button. This is to hurry things up. They want to get Trump off his perch. This is the only way they can do it.
Avian flu. We don't have enough vaccines. We don't have enough.
First of all, there's many millions of doctors in this country. There's Dr. Birx, Luther Fauci.
Hang on. Bloody mail kills
to fevers.
Theoretically, you should protect
A raging mass debate.
Avian flu.
On the pump.
Theoretically, you
Allowed to go to the supermarket in queues. There are millions of doctors in this country. There's Dr. Birx. There's Dr. Fauci.
Well, the FDA
walking around with masks. No reason to be walking around with a mask.
And America sucks right now. There's everyone to that study particularly.
reset button. This is to hurry things up.
Supporting Trump. A raging mass debate. Because what you're saying is irresponsible.
Help problems for the things that they put the next uprising by these Antifa riots.
Those had a side effect.
Yeah, but some of that is not dramatic where, it's just, super painful. But all Western nations, everywhere, the councillors are all paid off. They're all Marxists.
The Erna trial produced good news with 2 doses of the vaccine.
Video of a raging mass debate.
Where, it's just, super painful.
In the UK can explain what's going on in the US better than most Americans can.
Coronavirus pandemic is a hoax.
Important to note, volunteers would not be injected with COVID, and it would not harm.
Lower the hemoglobin.
There's doctor services, all warehouses. There's Dr. Fauci.
Hang on.
There's many millions of doctors.
Attention everyone, attention. This is your conductor. Face coverings are required when you ride with us and need to cover your mouth and nose. My co-workers are coming to the train with free masks. Free masks for anyone who wants one. Look under your chair, there's a free mask. I look out for you, please look out for me. Wear a mask at all times when riding the suburbs. The NTO wants to thank you for wearing your mask today. Let's keep New York healthy. Be safe, and thank you for riding with us.
It's not quite as distorted as the actual subway speakers.
I'm gonna shoot you in the face with my noodle gun, you racist piece of shit. I got my pasta Glock locked and loaded.
It's a fucking insult to your people. It's an insult to your fucking people. It's like the N-word for us.
And if that don't work, I'm gonna hit you with my spaghetti cannon.
Don't fucking insult me like that.
I didn't insult you.
You call me Fredo. It's like I call you punk bitch. You like that? You want that to be your nickname?
I didn't call you that.
You called me Fredo. You know my name's not fucking Fredo.
I thought your name was.
You did not think my name was fucking Fredo. Don't be a liar.
Eat macaroni lead from the end of my noodle gun, you racist son of a bitch.
I'll fucking throw you down these stairs like a fucking punk. Please do.
And nobody calls me Fredo.
Well, why don't you do it? Go take a swing. You call me Fredo. Take a fucking swing. Take a fucking swing.
The spaghetti and the meatballs.
Take a swing. Come on,
you ain't got no balls. You keep calling me Fredo, but it must be a parody, like Weird Al Fredo.
You didn't know what you were doing.
I thought it was your name. I thought it was your name. You didn't know what you were saying, right? I thought it was
Pew pew. Take my noodle gun.
You're in for it. You're in for it.
Huzzah! Huzzah! I must play. I'm a brilliant violinist.
Oh, brother.
Give me that. Fuck off.
Yay. Excellent. Oh, my God.
People making songs from that. Huh, that was weird.
Hey, in the morning.
Yeah.
I think what happened is I was still logged in, and maybe it just looked like I was logged in, but I was really not logged in. And so I re-logged in, and there you were. So I'm thinking that's what happened.
Probably.
Something along those lines. Okay. All right. 1 2 1 2. Check 2 1 2 2 2 2 1 2. Test
Adam
1 2
Curry,
1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. Give me a little level, John.
Yes, there's a thunderstorm brewing. It's hitting us as we speak.
I have heard of this.
And it makes no sense because it was supposed to be just hot all day.
Yeah.
So the weatherman doesn't know what he's talking about.
Testing
once again.
1 2.
So what am I going to say?
Testing. Yeah, keep going.
Okay. Well, anyway, there's just a little thunder right there. Just you heard it. So if the power goes out, you know the reason why.
Yeah, you're perfect. You're good. You're good to go. We can do it live. Okay, hold on. Back.
Dynamite.
Pop, 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 pop. Where is my pre-stream? There we go.
Lady! That Valkyrie! It's the
All right, everybody, it's that time once again where we ride with the Valkyries. And there's the bat signal. Go ahead, retweet the tweet, boost the tweet. We've got episode 1200, Swazelnuff, coming up of the No Agenda Show. The best Yes. Outstanding vibrato.
Ready?
Hold on. 1, 2, 2, 2, 2. Almost. 2, 2. Okay, that really made the difference.
But it did.
Hold on. Saberama. Let's check we're in stereo. Yes. All good. And ready when you are.
Hit it.
Adam Curry, John C. Dvorak.
It's Thursday, August 16th, 2020. This is your award. Wait a minute. Is it Thursday? Yes, it is. No, it's not Thursday. It's Sunday. Oh, can't believe I did that.
It happens.
Okay, I'm ready again for the Sunday show.
Time flies. Hit it.
Adam Curry, John C. Dvorak.
It's Sunday, August 16th, 2020. This is your award-winning Give On Nation Media Assassination episode 1269.
This is No Agenda.
Doing the Milli Vanilli and broadcasting live from Opportunity Zone 33 here, the frontier of Austin, Texas, capital of the Drone Star State. In the morning, everybody. I'm Adam Curry.
And from northern Silicon Valley, where we're inundated with thunderstorms for some unknown reason, somebody's using a cloud buster. I'm John C. Dvorak.
It's Crackpot and Buzzkill in the morning.
Well, indeed, I would say absolutely true. Not a cloud buster, but a weather modification machine, and it is not reported, and it's not just where you are. 6 days ago, they flipped this thing on. It has not been reported what's been happening in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. I bet you haven't even heard of it.
Nope, I have not heard of it.
What came through was 10 minutes of, they actually have a name for it. It's like
I maybe have heard of it because I saw a photo of one of the granaries just blown away.
Yeah, here's a report, quickie.
These are fields of Iowa opportunities lost. Ben Olson farms this land and raises 240 head of cattle not far from Shellsburg. These stalks are bent and broken, but the corn looks almost good enough to eat.
Can you sell this? No. Why not? So as you can see, the kernel's still soft.
This ear, this field, this one too, it's all now junk after a massive storm with gusts that would rival many hurricanes smashed it all down.
A hurricane down south can do a lot of damage, but I tell you what, one of these up here in the Midwest, it's unbelievable what it'll do.
Crop after crop, it's all been, to coin a phrase, 2020'd.
2020 is going to be like a four-letter word, I'm afraid.
There are entire neighborhoods that have not had power for 6 days. 911 services aren't working. It's an epic failure of journalism. They're all so focused on Trump, but it's an actual disaster. And I don't know where Trump is, actually. What the hell? It's nuts. I got people emailing me. They're really frustrated because they can't get the word out as to what's happening up there.
That's crazy.
It is. It is. In the meantime, we've got...
I mean, if you want to, for example, when did that happen? That was a while back.
6 days ago.
Yes, yeah. And it hasn't been really reported that I can...
No, only local. That report was from the Weather Channel. You can't even get a report from anywhere.
Well, I do have the... if you want to just compare what you just talked about and the fact that we got this crazy thing going on here, which makes no sense. I haven't experienced a midsummer thunderstorm that I can ever remember ever in California, especially around here where it's, the Mediterranean climate and it's just, I've never seen it before. So last night, just a bunch of lightning and thunder and it pours rain and now it's still going on. It's not raining. It's just a thunder thing. It's overcast. I think it's on here. The news, I did a terrible job on these, on
the naming?
the naming.
Some of the naming is a bit off for my convenience.
I think this is kind of covering it. Just to show you what they are talking about, this is the CBS new A-Wrap. This is the teaser. This is all the news wrapped up at the beginning of the show.
All in one. Here we go, everybody.
Tonight, the new warning from the Postal Service. Your ballot might not get counted. President Trump threatens to hold up funding as the post office tells states it can't handle millions of mail-in votes this November. Will your ballot be delivered in time? Stark projection. The CDC says as many as 200,000 people could be killed by the coronavirus before Labor Day. The White House task force warns one state the virus is widespread and expanding. And as Texas closes in on 10,000 deaths, high schools in another hotspot vote to play football this fall. Unmasked. Could the mask you're wearing be worse than no mask at all? The new research and the government guidance on which face coverings work and which ones don't. Conspiracy theory. President Trump questions if Joe Biden's new running mate is eligible to be on the ticket. She is. Why some are calling the false attack on Senator Kamala Harris racist. The first interview from one of the officers in the George Floyd case. What he told investigators about that neon neck maneuver and his first reaction when he learned Floyd was dead. Out of control blaze. A second major wildfire torches Southern California. Will this weekend's weather make the situation even more dangerous? Too close for comfort. The shocking video as a wild bison violently attacks a tourist.
Oh, man.
Why experts say the animal isn't to blame. And on the road, or at least the side of it. CBS's Steve Hartman with the World War II vet on a cross-country mission for the second time.
Oh, my goodness. This is horrible.
This is the CBS Evening News with Nora O'Donnell.
Yes.
Reporting from the nation's capital.
Great, everybody.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us. Nora is off. I'm Margaret Brennan.
Thank you, Margaret. I'm Adam Curry here in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, where a Derico hit 6 days ago, 10 minutes a Derico, an incredible phenomenon that would have been great as a headline for your newscast because after it all is death and destruction.
Well, I kind of got a kick out of her slamming Nora. She says Nora is off.
There was, yeah, right. There was something else in there, and I believe that the news out in California is you guys are getting rolling blackouts soon.
I haven't seen one.
Oh, okay. Well, there's here, California warns of power shortages with heat roiling cities. And they're predicting rolling blackouts.
I haven't had one.
I'm saying they're predicting rolling blackouts.
Oh, predicting. Well, I could predict that.
Well, but I got an email from one of our producers that may interest you. He says I am part of a test team at General Electric. I worked at this site back in 2013. There was a plan to do another test in 2019, but they decided to close the site. The older machines took a long time, as in hours, to ramp up and to base load. They were steam cooled, so you had to wait for the steam. During the day, these machines had to operate at partial load due to high wind and solar usage. Now, these are the what was supposed to be replaced, not good for emissions and efficiency. The newer machines can ramp up from 0 to base load. This is gas-fired, 385 megawatts in less than 30 minutes. What California has done is they have removed every single one of their gas-based power turbines. And what our GE engineer here is saying is that they're just leaving these old machines there that cannot handle the base load quickly, so they have to do a blackout, a rolling blackout, so the other machines come up online. If they had just stuck with the machines that they could have, then you wouldn't have this problem. So it's really a management decision, Green New Deal type of choice they made.
Well, that guy who took over PG&E is a bonehead. He's the guy
no doubt.
You know, have to black out everything during windstorms and the rest.
Well, I hope it doesn't happen. I hope it doesn't happen during the show. That would be
I'm in a pretty protected area. It's pretty rare.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's good. Now, then we have Colorado, who are begging for a rain stick. But I'm worried about that.
I wouldn't do it.
Our producer says, Colorado needs the rain stick. I have firefighting planes flying over my house all day. My car is covered in soot. I have desert plants that are dying. Before too long, we're all going to look like Black Pete. We're just sucking in soot. Please help. Are you sure we shouldn't do this?
Why come they're talking about the fires in California? Why is it
this is Colorado?
Margaret discussing this? I didn't know this was going on. It's not in the news.
Yeah. But what I'm worried about is the location of Colorado. I'm afraid I don't want to hit Iowa on the backside of it.
Well, or here.
Yeah, but would I be okay if I just did one shake?
No, go ahead, give it a shot. It's always an experiment.
Hold on. It's in a rain stick lock safe, you understand. Can't have any unauthorized use. All right, here you go, Colorado. 2 shakes. Okay, that should just give you a little bit of relief. Let me know how it is in 2 days. Hello?
Hello?
Oh, I was waiting. You went silent on me. I was putting the rain stick back in the case.
No, I was silent. I didn't say anything.
Yeah. Okay. So that's the weather. Now that we've got
weather.
Now that we've got the weather out of the way.
That except for the firestorm.
That's the weather, everybody.
They usually open with weather when they can.
It makes no sense. Unless, well, look, what's destroyed is crops, very important crops. It's corn. I would say that's probably what China wants. Something's going on. There's a lot going on, actually. I'm not trusting much anymore. Yeah.
Well, you should be able to trust one thing and one thing only.
Okay.
The car count for the Zephyr.
Do you have an accurate count for today?
I believe the train is about to approach.
Okay. Well, we shall wait.
That's why I'm stretching out my sentence structure.
Few seconds
in such a way.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, stand by.
For the train
we are
to
about
make
to
its
go
way all the way.
The Zephyr economic
And here it comes.
Ladies and gentlemen, here it comes. We're counting the Zephyr cars.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8.
8 cars. Any bonus?
No, nothing.
8 cars.
It was going by slow, very slow again. What time is it?
It's 11:20, so it's late.
4 minutes late.
It's 4 minutes late, going slow. 8 cars. Economy is stable. Bitcoin 11,871.
Oh my God! Woo! Listen to that horn!
All right, everybody at CNBC, you can go back to work. I always switch over to listen to this. So coronavirus. Just a couple minutes on corona. On the coronavirus. The Rona is really, it's like American Idol. And we had it in China Idol, then we had American Idol, we had European Idol, now we're Idols Down Under.
Just like all the rest of them after a few episodes, it sucks.
Yes, Idols Down Under. And we've been looking to see, first of all, a note that this is clearly because the virus is aerosolized. We had Maurice the dog, who has been marginalized, but obviously correct. Even in the Netherlands, people are now saying the dog was right. Australia and New Zealand had locked down. We are the winners. We did it. We're awesome. We kept it all away. We locked everything down tight. And of course, flu season came along just as expected, and there was no stopping it. There are cases and the spreading, and people are dying. And Victoria, the state of Victoria, has shut down in a real prison style. So it's interesting to see if it will follow the same template. And the first part of that is, where do we have it here? I have the, yes, we have hydroxychloroquine being discredited and confiscated at the border.
Why?
Well, because Clive, what's his name? What's the douchebag's name? Clive. Over there.
I don't know any Clive douchebag.
Yeah, you do.
Isn't everyone named Clive a douchebag?
Yeah, pretty much. Clive James. He had ordered, like 10 million doses or what. So basically we have a rich guy who is the asshole of hydroxychloroquine, and everything is being stopped and confiscated. So they're really kind of following the template. Here, hydroxychloroquine imports spike in Australia as billionaire accused of touting drug as a cure. Sound familiar? So we have the evil guy, the nut job who's promoted it, and we're stopping people from taking it. And this is about the time when you'd want to take it, when you have this going on. But no. From one of our producers. My wife works for the Southern Australian Police in the coronavirus security. We both listened to the show. I was just in Australia at the end of February, early March. I saw all of this unfold from there. I was in Melbourne, Adelaide, and flew back to the States from Sydney. All the internal borders are closed. They have checkpoints to get your name and address, and they follow up to make sure you quarantine. South Australia has relatively zero coronavirus. They went months without one case. They live normal, mask-free lives, full restaurants. The political elite there protect their people. The only cases that would be some Indian, quote, returning home, or some connected family bringing mom in who just happened to have COVID. Many people have been caught trying to sneak into Southern Australia from Victoria. Victoria made its bed, and now it has to lie in it. That's how much these states hate each other. 25 years of smug left-wing bring-in the refugees liberalism has created a giant petri dish of different biologies, customs, languages, etc. There's no way to regulate this mess, and it's a mess, a great big festering mess of cataclysm, just like New York City. And I have thoughts about that. Victoria is governed differently from Southern Australia. Victoria is loose and has a lot of foreign gangs running things because the leadership there is childlike, naive, and immature. The international crowd they've brought in is far more sophisticated than the buffoons running Victoria. It's like a bunch of high school kids thinking they understand MS-13 because of MTV videos glamorizing it. They're sitting ducks. It's sad. They have no idea the shark-infested waters in which they swim. And here's the interesting thing.
The interesting thing is this guy should be writing op-eds.
Well, he's a native New Yorker from Manhattan. But this is the only, and hated for it, the only state in Australia that signed up for the Belt and Road China deal. Okay, so let me
Belt and Roaders.
Let me just review for a moment. If this were, and I'm a conspiracy therapist, I'm just analyzing the situation. We have a virus. It gets out in and does nasty damage in northern Italy, where all of the fashion houses are. New York, which is pretty much owned by China. See the New Year's Eve, Rockin' Eve, Times Square, completely sponsored by China.
Yep.
Now we have the only state in Australia that has dealings with China.
Right, and that also leans against the federal government there.
Yep. So, what if the following were taking place? Because this morning you'll see New York is streaming out. People are leaving. Businesses and people who were there who can conduct themselves online and from home or separate spaces were really in New York initially for the bandwidth, because New York City was very, very good on rolling out super high bandwidth. Now, of course, they can do that from everywhere. The cities are emptying. The restaurants are closing. There's no one left really to speak of to keep any business going. Wouldn't it be interesting if China comes along and says to Cuomo, or maybe the douchebags in Victoria or in northern Italy, which also had the deal with China, hey, Trump won't give you the money. We'll give you the money. Here. And all you have to do is put the collateral, the stuff that you're going to build with that. It's the China model. You watch. It's the China model. It's without actually rubblizing the buildings. It's sophisticated.
Well, they've already practiced this in Africa.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. It's the African model. And I can see Victoria following the exact same template. No hydroxychloroquine. Okay, so what is next? They're not even really talking about vaccines yet. That's the interesting thing. They're still in the death mode and the count mode. Oh, of course it's coming. It is really, really coincidental that this is happening at this pace. I'm really starting to see some patterns that should make us all somewhat worried. Let's see.
Well, especially in those hot spots.
Well, it has to be the combination. It's the hot spot, and it's the deal with either a Belt and Road deal or a 5G deal. That's what it's the three places. it's driving me nuts. These three and if you look at New York and New Jersey, that's 80,000 deaths, recorded deaths, compared to the rest of, Texas, we're like number 20 on the death list for the U.S. But no, focus on us.
On the leaderboard.
On the leaderboard, yeah. What we can probably look for, so I think that with the hydroxychloroquine, what comes right after the hydroxy bull crap? Then we get, they got to switch the models or something. Wasn't that what happened?
No, then they found that stuff that you can use if somebody is pretty much on their deathbed. The lack of discussion, which I think they have completely pulled the plug on, ironic comment, is the ventilators. Nobody talks about ventilators anymore.
Well, no, because you don't need them anymore.
Trump, I guess, instituted a process of making so many ventilators that they passed them all over the world. And that would give him too much credit, so screw that. We're
don't talk about that.
About him.
But there is a new piece of research that I'd like to share that we have not seen. It's not is not any cure. It's just some information. And this is a study that looked at why some people have very bad reaction to COVID, to coronavirus, and thus developing a horrible COVID reaction, and why some have very little, if any at all. And that's something I have not heard much about, other than, I think, different blood types. There's some noise floating around that if you have previous flu shots, that may have made it worse. Which there was some actual research about that, about the 2019 flu, and
they got to quash that.
Yeah, well, that we've talked about that. That was the military. They took because they always test all the flu vaccines, and I think it was the 2018, 2019 people who took the studies for that say that people who took that flu actually were more susceptible to coronavirus itself. And then we have one of our producers who mailed me, and I kind of liked how he started. Hey, Adam, long time, no comms. I went overboard while finishing up my PhD. Really? That's your excuse? Haven't had much time to listen to the show, only when I'm mowing the lawn. I hope things go well for you guys. I'm not in the medical field, but I regularly read the journal Science. I saw this study. Don't know if you've heard any news about it, and he has a link to the study. Pretty dense, which it is, published in the highest peer-reviewed journal in the country. It should be considered with some degree of confidence. Basically, anywhere up to 50% of people may already have immunity to SARS-CoV-2, the virus that causes COVID-19, not because of antibodies, but because of T cells. In some, the data demonstrate that memory CD4 plus T cells recognizing common cold coronaviruses, including HCOV OC43, HCOV HKU1, a couple of numbers there, can exhibit substantial cross-reactivity to the homologous epitope in the SARS-CoV-2. Man, I'm glad he's the PhD. In layman's terms, if you've had a cold caused by a bunch of different coronaviruses in the past, your T cells retain the memory of how to fight them, and thus also SARS-CoV-2. And that would explain why I don't have anything. I'm constantly dripping. Constantly. I always have a cold or an allergy. I'm always blowing my nose. The end of the article, they end the article with some doubt, though, to be fair, claiming that this T-cell memory causing different outcomes to those exposed to SARS-CoV-2 is, quote, highly speculative. However, I think this explains why only 10 to 20% of people are contracting the disease and even less are symptomatic. Herd immunity is usually considered after 60 to 70% of population are immune. Well, if 50% are immune because of their T cells, that leaves very little room for mass infections before 70% is reached. And this also explains why children aren't affected as much. Of course, children are always walking around with a snotty nose. I like this.
Well, this is another thing that won't be discussed much.
Well, isn't that why we're here?
Yeah.
Yeah. And to wind it up, I have, let me see. Wow, what is this? This is odd.
Actually, why we're here is so I can say, this won't be discussed much.
This won't be discussed much. Tedros came out and did another speech.
Our buddy.
Yeah, it's kind of, I don't know why, this looks weird on the waveform.
We leave.
Yeah, okay. So Tedros came out, and he is pushing two things. Well, he's really pushing one thing, which is we need money, which is kind of funny to hear him pitch.
His job.
Yeah. And his first pitch is for the ACT Accelerator. And the ACT Accelerator is the access to COVID tools. And a COVID tool would be a vaccine, a therapeutic, or a bullet to the head. I don't know, anything that is a tool to help you with coronavirus COVID. And so it's really a fund. We need to put all the money in one place, the ACT Accelerator, so that we can, together as a global community, we can solve the problem. For that is truly the only way.
We live in a globalized economy, and countries are dependent on each other for goods and services, transportation and supply. If we don't get rid of the virus everywhere, we can't rebuild economies anywhere. And the real beauty of the ACT Accelerator and its work is that stimulus investments and globally coordinated rollout of new vaccines, tests and therapeutics would have a major multiplier effect on our economies. The sooner we stop the pandemic, the sooner we can ensure internationally interlinked sectors like travel, trade, and tourism can truly recover. There is hope, but it must be financed to be successful.
By us.
IMF estimates the pandemic costs the global economy $375 billion a month and predicts a cumulative loss to the global economy over 2 years of over $12 trillion. If we all deploy the tools currently at our disposal today, and if we collectively invest in new tools through the ACT Accelerator, we have a route out of this pandemic. Together with solidarity.
Together
with our money.
Now, of course, this thing is winding down in most of the world. We're not seeing people die as much. We don't need the ventilators, as you pointed out.
That's not what I heard on the CBS rundown.
But that's okay, because we still need the ACT Accelerator. It is important, because there's another pandemic on the horizon.
Over the past 2 years, working with the government of the Democratic Republic of the Congo, communities, health workers, and local and international partners, we collectively defeated one of the most difficult Ebola outbreaks the world has ever faced. However, at the time of COVID-19, the outbreak in Equator province is a worrying development. So far, there have been 86 Ebola cases across the province. The country, government and partners face significant logistical challenges in being able to rapidly investigate and establish response capacities in extremely remote and difficult areas to access. The geographic spread of the outbreak is vast, with cases in some areas separated by more than 250 kilometers, and many areas are only accessible by helicopter or boat. Right now, WHO has approximately 100 staff on the ground working with the Ministry of Health, UN agencies, NGOs, and communities. We immediately released $2.5 million from the contingency fund for emergencies and our regional emergency response fund to support the immediate response. To bring the outbreak under control and end it, WHO and partners require additional funding.
Yes, $38 billion. Woo, everybody! It's back! It's back! It's back! It's back! It's back! Ebola is back! Oh yeah! Nice. It's back. We have a whole bunch of jingles when it's ready.
Well, there's another one. Well, actually, I have some COVID stuff before I bring in my next pandemic or dangerous situation.
Yeah.
Actually, we can play that now. Go for the clip Triple E coming.
Triple E? Oh boy, it doesn't sound good.
A woman in her 60s is the second person in the state with a confirmed case of Triple E this year. The Department of Public Health says she was exposed to the mosquito-borne virus in Western Mass. Yeah. As a result, the Triple E risk level is now at critical in Wilbraham.
Triple E is what?
Apparently, Triple E is the Eastern Equine Encephalitis.
Eastern Equine... The hell?
Encephalitis, or Triple E. The virus was discovered in four sentinel chickens, by the way. They have these sentinel chickens, strategically placed fowl used by states to detect the presence of mosquito-borne viruses in the area. Delaware is one of the main places where it is, Joe Biden country. The virus was detected in all 3 counties of the state of Delaware, Newcastle, Kent, and Sussex.
Oh, brother.
Triple E infections are spread by mosquito bites and lead to brain infections that 30% of the time result in fatalities, a 30% killer, or neurological problems in survivors. The U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, they reported this. Symptoms including the sudden onset of headache, high fever, chills, and vomiting.
Wow.
Typically develop in 4 to 10 days following the bite. Additionally, there is no specific treatment for the virus, as antibiotics and antiviral drugs prove essentially ineffective. Among those at the highest risk for the infection are residents of Atlantic and Gulf Coast states. You'd think this would be on the news.
Kind of.
And people who live in around visit woodland areas, the tree huggers, and work outside or participate in outdoor activities. Football. Delaware health officials are encouraging residents, especially in the affected counties, to use bug repellent with DEET to protect the skin with long-sleeved clothing whenever possible.
Wow.
Yeah.
Triple E.
Yeah? You never heard of it?
No. I like it, though. We can do Triple E donations. That's going to be very helpful. In 1976, I don't remember this as well. I was living in the Netherlands. I was like 12. There was a huge swine flu outbreak. Do you remember any of this?
Oh, that's the original swine flu.
The original swine flu, yeah. Do you remember that?
I remember it yes, because when I was at the air pollution district, there were people that I never took the shots or anything, but there were people getting killed by the shots.
Yes.
They really suppressed this baby.
In 1979, Mike Wallace...
we played this entire interview on the show.
We did?
Yep.
Which interview is it?
It's Mike Wallace and this woman, and they're discussing the fact that nobody actually got this thing, and it was the shot killing everybody.
So this is the report about the report. We played that whole thing? It's not just if we've played it before, tell me to stop and I'll stop.
No, I mean, if you played it before, it's probably worth playing again. I mean, it was a good clip.
So it's really a deconstruction of 1976 in 1979.
Remember the swine flu scare of 1976?
Yep, this is
that
exact
was the year
same
the U.S. government told us all that...
Well, I think we should listen a little bit as well.
No, I think you should try to remember the clip. We should listen to it again. I like this clip.
Swine flu could turn out to be a killer that could spread across the nation. And Washington decided that every man, woman, and child in the nation should get a shot to prevent a nationwide outbreak, a pandemic. Well, 46 million of us obediently took the shot. And now 4,000 Americans are claiming damages from Uncle Sam amounting to $3.5 billion because of what happened when they took that shot.
Dr. David Senser, then head of the CDC, the Center for Disease Control in Atlanta, is now in private industry. He devised the swine flu program, and he pushed it.
See, I think this is different. I don't think this is what we played before.
I'm telling you, it's exactly
the same? Okay.
You began to give flu shots to the American people in October of 76. October 1st. By that time, how many cases of swine flu around the world had been reported?
There had been several reported, but none confirmed.
Now, nearly everyone was to receive the shot in a public health facility where a doctor might not be present. Therefore, it was up to the CDC to come up with some kind of official consent form, giving the public all the information it needed about the swine flu shot. This form stated that the swine flu vaccine had been tested. What it didn't say was that after those tests were completed, the scientists developed another vaccine.
You are right, man. The reason why I didn't remember it is because it was one of your clips, 3 of them, in March. I must have the triple E.
And that was the one given to most of the 46 million who took the shot. That vaccine was called X53A.
Was X53A ever field tested? I can't say. I would have to...
It wasn't.
I don't know.
Well, I would think that you're in charge of the program.
I would have to check the records. I haven't looked at this in some time.
Dr. Michael Hatwick directed the surveillance team for the swine flu program at the CDC. His job was to find out what possible complications could arise from taking the shot and to report his findings to those in charge.
Did you know ahead of time, Dr. Hatwick, that there had been case reports of neurological disorders, neurological illness, apparently associated with the injection of influenza vaccine?
Absolutely.
You did?
Yes.
How'd you know that?
By review of the literature.
So you told your superiors, the men in charge of the swine flu immunization program, about the possibility of neurological disorders?
Absolutely.
What would you say if I told you that your superiors say that you never told them about the possibility of neurological complications?
That's nonsense. I can't believe that they would say that they did not know that there were neurological illnesses associated with influenza vaccination. That simply is not true.
Influenza vaccination.
I've said that Dr. Hatwick had never told me of his feelings on this subject.
Then he's lying.
I guess you would have to make that assumption.
Then why does this report from your own agency, dated July 1976, list neurological complications as a possibility?
I think the consensus of the scientific community was that the evidence relating neurologic disorders to influenza immunization was such that they did not feel that this association was a real one.
You're right. You're right. I didn't even remember that. We had we had a 3-parter.
Show's too dense. Our show's too dense.
I was thinking today, we're so dense. We're also way too tight for this market. I could do a show every day. Not that I want to, but these days, there's so much news.
You can't do it as a burn.
No, it would burn us out in a heartbeat. Unless you have something else in the COVID sphere, maybe I can take us into...
No, I have plenty.
Oh, good.
I just want to get some update reports.
Yeah.
First of all, let's go back to Massachusetts because they've gotten so carried away here. They found some kid who had some COVID on him, and they're now experimenting with contact tracing. This is contact tracing in Massachusetts. Listen to this story.
The Department of Public Health is coordinating contact tracing with other health departments. This after a Massachusetts teenager tested positive for the coronavirus while playing ice hockey out of state. The Globe reports the teen played in a tournament in Connecticut and also practiced in New Hampshire.
Have to kill the kid.
Oh, big deal. Okay.
Lock that kid up. Lock him up.
Lock him up he's tested positive.
No.
Here's the update on California. This is COVID California.
Oh, brother.
Today, California topped 600,000 confirmed cases, the most of any state since the pandemic began. As positivity rates remain above the recommended levels for reopening across much of the country, Dr. Fauci again warned against reopening too quickly.
In your understandable zeal to quickly get back to normal and revive the economy.
Quickly? It's been 6 months.
If you do it in a measured, prudent way. To think that you can ignore the biologic, it's just not going to happen.
Looking ahead to a possible vaccine, the CDC has reportedly reached out to 4 states, including Florida, as well as the city of Philadelphia, to begin drafting plans on how they would store and distribute a vaccine, including who gets priority. Margaret?
Yeah, who gets priority? We all know it's old people and black and brown communities.
No, the healthcare workers are priority number one.
Yeah, the healthcare workers are not going to want to take that right off the bat.
Well, they're going to have to keep their jobs.
I know.
It's one way of wiping out that.
It's already like that with influenza vaccine. It's mandatory in many hospitals.
Yeah, I thought about this. Gee, I wonder with the healthcare industry and the healthcare professors if anyone is phoning up the paperwork.
Ooh, well, we certainly. You don't have to phone
I'm a doctor, you're a doctor. I gave you a shot, I'll sign off on it. You give me a shot, you sign off on it. Neither one of us gets a shot. Is there any monitoring of this?
Yeah, you probably have to sign a lot of documents. So
no, I'm sure it's just that simple, just what I expressed.
Okay, I'm sure many of our healthcare professionals will let us know.
Anonymously, I hope.
Yeah, so of course they will.
So meanwhile, of course, we have Georgia, Florida, Texas, the 3 states that tried to open too soon, and they must be punished.
What have we done? Oh, that's right. We opened too soon. We're horrible. We're lame.
And of course, what was the state? What was the state that opened the first? That really opened up right away.
Georgia. Mm-hmm.
Well, we have a report.
All right.
The president's COVID task force says the virus is spreading way too quickly in Georgia and warns bars and restaurants should close in some counties. But tonight, it's not clear if state officials will heed that advice. Here's CBS's Manuel Bojorquez.
Georgia's efforts to fight the virus are not having a sufficient impact, according to the White House Coronavirus Task Force. In a report obtained by CBS News dated August 9th, the task force strongly recommended a statewide mask mandate. Governor Brian Kemp has not publicly addressed the report and has refused to enact a mask order.
I'm confident that Georgians don't need a mandate to do the right thing.
But Dr. Anthony Fauci pushed for everyone to mask up.
Is that absolutely we should have universal wearing of masks. For myself personally, I would say everybody should have to use it.
The debate comes as more schools are set to reopen, despite more than 2,000 students and staff having to quarantine nationwide due to positive cases in schools where students recently returned to class. In Florida, a judge allowed a lawsuit seeking to delay in-person instruction to proceed, but it'll be heard next week when some schools are already back. Today, the state decided to allow high school football to start at the end of the month. In Arizona, Mark DeGrow, a chemistry teacher with a 4-decade-long career, handed in his resignation when his school district near Phoenix chose to restart in-person teaching.
Gosh. Regarding schools, the ones that have moved to online or hybrid or whatever, they immediately, of course, use Google Classroom because it's free, it's completely safe and secure, and there's no tracking of your children. Google has been giving away and selling at discounted prices, great package deals with Chromebooks. Unfortunately, the teacher communities are now up in arms. There's the supply of Chromebooks is pretty much out because they're all sitting in the warehouse in China. I know. It's not really funny. It's kind of sad.
So continuing this last clip, there was a teacher. There was apparently a bunch of science teachers quit. I don't know why they
Arizona.
picked this.
It's Arizona, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, and this is something I have a hint that there may be something scamish going on because I don't know why they picked this one teacher, but this is the teacher quits, and I'm asking the question, why are they interviewing this one guy?
When his school district near Phoenix chose to restart in-person teaching.
You have 33 students in a classroom for 50 minutes, and you do that 5 times a day. It's not safe.
So 41 years of teaching, and this is what unfortunately makes you end this career?
Yeah, in my science department of 11, 6 of us are resigning.
But if this was still a virtual-only environment, you would still be there.
Oh, all of us would.
Thank you, Google.
Yeah, really. Jeez.
Drop to 33. We'd still be there if we could have Google doing everything. This is ridiculous, and they're science teachers.
Oh, man. Science teachers, no less.
Yep.
I want to remind everybody that when this started, China took the unprecedented step of shutting down 11 million people in a city. It had never been done. We don't really talk about it anymore. It had never been done before to that degree. It was, of course, either a test or the model or whatever it is. That became what everyone had to do. And what I've been somewhat curious / obsessed over is, how does that work? How does the medical information get simplified, dumbed down, distorted, misinformed, confusing, just put a whole lot? How does it get into the media, and how does it get into how does it get in? I mean, we know World Health Organization, we know who they take their cues from, we know that the entire medical community has at the top people who have China's best interests at heart. The Harvard School of Medicine, the Harvard Bloomberg School of Medicine, their Event 201 preparing for. I mean, it's all too much.
I think, you're asking a question that I think is the point of the exercise.
I think I have at least one answer. I've found one answer as to where a lot of this comes from. And you'd think that, we have the Norman Lear in Hollywood, Norman Lear Hollywood Foundation.
Out of USC.
Yeah, and they put a lot of stuff into sitcoms, etc. But I don't think they really do a lot for news, certainly not for medical.
There's got to be somebody that does.
Okay, so here's what I learned. Something very extraordinary happened Friday, I think. The first live one-on-one interview with vice presidential pick Kamala Harris was going to air live on MSNBC. And I'm always flipping around. I'm watching, I watch more MSNBC than anything. But I'm flipping around and I see that, holy crap. And so I think, is she going to be on set? Who's going to do the interview? They switch over for a full half hour live to a web stream, which was essentially a 2-pane Zoom call between Aaron Hayes, editor-at-large of the 19th, and Kamala Harris, who is at her flag-draped podium there in near where Joe lives. Now, for MSNBC to give up a full half hour to submit to the wishes of the campaign that this is how we're going to do our first interview and you're going to air it, I would say that is not normal. What do you think?
Well, I have a couple of thoughts. First of all, if you can make sure it's an exclusive and you can have bragging rights, you might go along with it. It's pretty lame to do that. I mean, normally you would have one of your hosts do the whole thing. You wouldn't give it to some third party called whatever it is. I never heard of this group. Do the interview. Why are they doing the interview? If I was on the editorial side of MSNBC, I'd have a lot.
You'd be pissed.
I wouldn't be pissed. I wouldn't allow it. I would say, here's the rules that we're going to go by. We're going to be, and I would go to the Harris campaign and strong arm them and say, look, you want to be exclusive to this. We have to do it. And we're going to be your biggest supporters. And you know that. So don't take us for granted. And I would make it go differently. This doesn't sound right.
Exactly. So there's some power structure somewhere, which will lead into what we're talking about.
It could be that the structure, I mean, this could be coming down from Comcast bosses.
I think I have the answer. I've done the work, John.
If you've done the work.
Done the work.
You've also done the work of developing a very good tease.
I've just one clip to give you an idea of how this sounded on NBC News. They take their work seriously. It's professional. You got tight transitions and stuff flying around on the screen. So this is how it started as they cut from MSNBC, and now they're live on the web.
Hello, I'm Erin Haynes, editor-at-large for The 19th, and welcome to Day 5 of The 19th Represents. Today, we're in conversation with somebody who you may have seen in the headlines a bit this week. Senator Kamala Harris of California was announced Tuesday as the 2020 Democratic vice presidential nominee, a historic choice that ended months of speculation over which of the qualified, capable, and talented women Joe Biden would select as his running mate. Senator Harris, we're so excited that you could join us for your first extended conversation since joining the ticket. Thanks so much for being here.
I am so happy to be with you, Aaron, and on purpose, my first interview as a teammate and a running mate with Joe Biden is with the 19th. So thank you. It's good to be with you.
Well, thank you so much for stopping by. Listen, I know so many of the people out here watching today are wanting to hear directly from you about how we got to this moment. So let's talk about this deep stakes process, which must have been even more nerve-wracking and high stakes for you than it was for all of us who were watching from the outside.
So 30 minutes uninterrupted of shitty connection, horrible audio, questions like, if you were a tree, what kind of tree would you be? Every question was softball set up. She's reading them that was agreed to. Kamala says, as a team member, as a teammate of what? Of the 19th? What the hell?
No, she said Joe Biden. It was pretty clear.
Joe Biden and okay. So what is Joe Biden's connection to the 19th? There's some team there that we're unaware of.
This operation.
I'm going to tell you about it. And this is a Princeton.
I sure can't find anything.
She is a Princeton professor. Listen to her grammar.
I want to start by asking you how your name came up for this role. I mean, is this something that you told Joe Biden that you were interested in, or did he approach you?
Did he approach you? Come on, please, Princeton. And what kind of question is that? Oh, how did that come up? This is not what NBC would want from a journalistic interview. So let's look at the 19th. You can find it at 19thnews.org. 19th News is a nonprofit.
Is it spelled?
Number 1, number 9, THNEWS.org. This is brand new. It was founded, its nonprofit status was accepted in 2019, so there's no numbers that I can garner from a Form 990 because they don't have to file until October if they ever do file. And what this is an organization that does media, creates packages, videos, etc., and makes them available for free, royalty-free, copyright-free. You can do whatever you want. Free to consume, free to republish journalism that reimagines politics and policy coverage through a gender lens. Deep dive, evidence-based reporting that exposes gender inequity and injustice and reveals surprising and original stories on the issue that most deeply affect women's lives, from healthcare to the economy. So clearly a Joe Biden team. I did want to know who was behind this. This is the kind of stuff we do.
I want to read the head when you do a search. It says the 19th News informing women, transforming news.
Yes. So let's see how they've been doing. They're a nonprofit. You could turn your speakers down one dog biscuit. Okay. That'd be great. Thanks. Within this 1 year, now we do not know how much money they've raised, but they have. Just like No Agenda Show, actually, they have credits. And I'm going to skip the up to $1,000. I'm going to skip the $25,000. I'll go to the $25,000 to $100,000 level, where we have the Boone Family Foundation, Good Words Foundation. We have, let's go up one. Let's go to the $100,000 to $250,000. Abigail Disney, Carnegie Corporation of New York, Knight Foundation. There's a whole bunch more. Let's go up to the $250,000 to $1 million. Arnold Ventures, Barbara and Amos Hostetter, sounds like kind of a PBS type list. Craig Newmark Philanthropies, Ford Foundation, and then at the very top, $1 million and above, we have two names: the Rockefeller Philanthropy Advisors Collaborative for Gender and Reproductive Equity, but more importantly, Quadrivium. What the hell is Quadrivium? Well, Quadrivium is...
What a name.
Yeah, Quadrivium is basically a foundation that invests in other foundations, and it is headed up by Catherine and James Murdoch, the two Trump-hating Murdochs from the Fox family.
Fox.
Well, James recently just left the board of directors. He left the board of directors. So these are Trump haters. They've got a hell of a lot of money, and they're funding this outfit for this type of quote-unquote news. But they fund a lot more. They also fund SciLine, Science Line. This is where it gets interesting. SciLine, COVID-19 resources for reporters. Sideline is offering free resources to journalists to support their coverage of the current pandemic, including quotable comments from science experts, a series of media briefings and Q&A with experts, tips for local reporters, a localizable infographic showing coronavirus cases and deaths by state and country, blah, 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 blah. Your story involves science. You need an expert. You need that expert now! So that's what Sideline does, and it is funded by lots of people, but up on top is Catherine Murdoch. She's the lead on this. And who do they work with? Well, this is the killer. This is the American Association for the Advancement of Science. This is the motherlode mission, and they're the AAAS, the AAAS.
Yes, they've been around for a while.
Yes, hundreds of millions of dollars, according to their Form 990. They seek to advance science, engineering, and innovation throughout the world for the benefit of all people. To fulfill this mission, the AAAS board has set the following broad goals: enhance communication among scientists, engineers, and the public, promote and defend the integrity of science and its use, strengthen support for science and technology enterprise, provide a voice for science on societal issues. You get the idea. These guys are completely in cahoots. Their outlet is through the Sideline. And if you look at the structure of the AAAS, wouldn't you know it? Now he's an American, but with CCP roots. Stephen Chu is the chairman of the board. And this whole thing is amazing. They have a whole China division called the China Association for Science and Technology. This is how it works. It comes into the AAAS. It goes to outfits like Sideline, funded by people like Murdoch, to get the packages in your hand, Mr. and Mrs. Media. And they clearly have power because the same people were allowed to put this crap on primetime afternoon viewing on MSNBC. There's power there.
I wonder about that. I will question this basic. I mean, I think you nailed it, except that I think that you're missing one element about this power.
Okay. But there's one
over the years, the news media folk, I believe, have gotten so lazy, and they're all coming out of these journalism schools, and they don't have Rolodexes, and they never pulled down the Rolodex from their buddy that they replaced, the science journalist that's been there for 25 years, and he's got his own contact list that you would call up and say, hey, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? And they would give you the quote. Now they've got what you said is a motherload of quotable people that have high credentials, all at one number that you can count on. And this is, by the way, a big deal. There's a lot of, I remember when Adam Osborne was promoting his computers, and he used to say to the people that worked under him that, if anybody from the media calls me, interrupt whatever I'm doing. I will give anyone a quote at any time. And he got called a lot.
Of course.
Because if you're working on a story, you have a deadline. It's probably today. It's probably at 4:00. You call this guy, you call that guy, you call this guy. Nobody calls you back in time for a day or two. But if you got a motherload of people that you know for a fact will call you back, because you call the main line and say, I need a quote from so-and-so, the hotline about such and such, they will call you back in 5 minutes.
Yep.
So this is what constitutes the news.
Well, you played right into my into a next sequence, which I was going to save, but I think it's more than necessary now. The Council on Foreign Relations, we consider that to be one big drinking club. People hanging around, telling stories, jacking each other off.
Yeah, but they're all globalists, and they promote that amongst themselves.
And amongst the membership is a very high level of journos or news models. Aaron Burnett, Chip
Yamiche, I believe, is on that
Yamiche
group.
is CFR. Stacey Abrams she's not news, but Stacey. So the CFR club, it's like you get to go into the club. It's very cool. And you get to drink and hang out. What's interesting is they, with the Rona lockdown, they're doing things a little differently. They're doing webinars. And they put a webinar on, I don't know if they put it online or if it was someone who captured it. It's a Zoom call. what is it, 15 or 20 boxes. The title of this call, Local Journalists Webinar for Disinformation and the Election 2020. This was led by a guy named Peter Schaefer. And Peter Schaefer, I don't know if I think I put his bio in here. Brett Schaefer, I'm sorry. Brett Schaefer is the Alliance for Securing Democracy's Media and Digital Disinformation Fellow. He's a fellow. So he knows what's going on. And he is going to teach local reporters how to handle disinformation in this election. So this is exactly the kind of people you're talking about. These are people they don't have big national resources. They're doing stuff locally. And I think what we're seeing here is some beautiful instruction. Let's kick it off with the first little lesson here.
I'm not a huge fan, frankly, of debunking things in general, because I think you're right. I don't think it's particularly effective. I've had this issue a bit with Twitter and Facebook fact-checking politicians, for example, and I think the context matters. But, when Trump, and a paid advertisement is very different. But if the president puts something out that is probably false, I'm not sure the benefit necessarily of Facebook labeling that as false, because I think it just...
by the way, one of the rare tards in the wild who a male vocal fry, which is interesting and refreshing to hear.
The people who think who know it's false aren't going to be, that's not going to kind of further convince them, and it's probably going to drive his supporters kind of further away from the platform. So I am less a fan of debunking than I am of pre-bunking the information space around.
John, he's teaching them to pre-bunk the information space.
So I am less a fan of debunking than I am of pre-bunking the information space around certain topics. So around the election, for example, if there are changes to the date, the time, how you can vote, of flooding the information space with accurate information in advance, sort of anticipating what some of the disinformation narratives can be and getting out ahead of them, as opposed to continuing to point out the 1,000 different disinformation fires, which is it's too much stuff. It would take your entire, it would suck up all of your time. You wouldn't cover anything else. And I don't think it's particularly effective, again, because all of the research has shown actually that by pointing to something that is false that somebody already believes, you tend to reaffirm actually their beliefs in the false statement. So it's sort of a rambling answer for you of it's a case-by-case basis, because I do think sometimes a narrative is salient enough that it has to be covered for those who are able to be convinced. We always talk about sort of the fence sitters, like the people who are deep into the conspiracy theory world, they're a bit lost. I'm more concerned about the high school student who's running a generic Google search and the top thing that pops up for them is a disinfo narrative. One of the things we pointed out is just how effective the Russians are at getting their content in front of people, which I can talk about in a bit with Data Void.
Data Void, okay. Is this the job of journalists? To pre-bunk stuff?
The job of journalists is to report, the job, it's called a reporter.
Mm-hmm.
You go, there's a story breaking, you go and you report on it so the public knows what's going on. I don't know what he's talking about.
He's talking about, what I believe is happening in this webinar, and what I believe has happened to local journalism in general, is they become outposts of an information army handled by the
pre-bunking
M5.
Everything.
Pre-bunking. And as you listen to this next clip, it dawned on me the entire reason that journalists have blue check marks on Twitter. And how many times, now you're a verified person, you were one of the first ones, and you've got 60, 70,000 followers, of course.
101.
You are a journalist. How many? 101,000?
Yeah.
Nice. So
and dropping.
But you are a journalist. You are considered to be legit. Adam Curry, of course, can never get a check mark. And boy, did we try for a while.
Well, I want to stop you there because here's the deal. When they started these check marks, the check mark idea was to verify the fact that you are the famous, quasi-famous, or noteworthy person.
Yes.
And this was legit. You were Adam Curry of MTV, the guy who was on television, who was the president of Mevio, who did all these different things. You're a real, legitimate person. That was the reason for the check mark.
Originally. Now, if you look at the check mark...
You never got a check mark during that era either. Because somebody at I'm going to just say this because it's a known fact. Somebody at Twitter hates you. Period.
No.
Yes.
I'll tell you what it is. Somebody at Twitter never wants me to be involved in the following scenario.
So this is maybe a good time to talk very briefly about data voids, because I think it's really important in this. So the concept of a data void, essentially what that means is the search engines work really, really well when there's a lot of credible information on a topic and you run a query and it's going to give you something reliable most of the time. So if you run a query on, World War II history, it's going to take you most of the time to a credible site. If there is a lack of credible information, the search engine still works to give you whatever is available. And so disinformation operators understand this, so they target these data voids where there's a low amount of information to push out false narratives, and they're very, very savvy about this. I mean, white nationalists have exploited this for years in ways that are frankly...
Bullshit.
I'm careful about using this term, but fairly sophisticated. So they'll misspell things like Holocaust in posts because they know that, 1 out of every 20 users, when they type it into a Google search, will have a typo in there. And if they have a typo, you're now getting Stormfront as your number one source of material on Holocaust information. So there's constantly the ways bad actors, and again, the Russians are amazing at this, sort of carpet bomb search queries that are important to them and flood the zone. So when people search for it, when they're looking for good information, so these are not the conspiracy theorists who are sort of deep into their own kind of web of weirdness on 4chan and Reddit. These are when I'm talking about the 15 or 16-year-old who's writing a report for school, or someone who just wants to know, where do I vote? The need to kind of flood that information space with credible information, because it actually works on the back end with the algorithms as well. Because Google knows, as a local reporter, you're credible. If you put out enough stuff there, it will serve up your content at the top.
If Google knows that you're credible, how does Google know that you're credible? You have a check mark. 90% of the blue checks on Twitter are local journos, web journos, people from The Verge who have 3,000 followers. Now you know why. When they send something to the data void, Google knows it's okay. That's what this is about. And that's why I don't have one.
Yeah, I'm not buying this.
Okay. I'm thinking it's much worse, but you don't have to buy it. Here is New York Times former deputy editor, Carla Robbins. And she says, hey, you with the blue check mark. Well, she didn't say that exactly. I'm adding that. You actually have a job to do.
When you were talking about this sort of community void, because politicians are failing or flailing, both at this point. I mean, this is a role for journalism, and the same way we have had in the past sort of hotlines. Tell us about your local rug cleaning company that ripped you off. I mean, this is something, I know that we've all got limited resources, but it would seem to me that if people feel like they're not getting adequate information, or they're getting disinformation, or they're getting something that they're confused by, tweet your local newspaper and say, is it true that they moved my local voting place? Is it true that they've changed the date of the primary? And even by doing the outreach to your local community and saying to them, come to us if you're confused, be on the alert for this sort of information, or this sort of disinformation, or this sort of gap or lack of information. A, you shame your local officials because you really point out the gap. And B, you play what is the most fundamental role of journalism. Listen, I understand there's limits.
I just want to check. The most fundamental role in journalism is shaming local politicians?
And tweeting?
Again, This is a system. This is a structure.
I don't know what she's talking about.
Do you really not understand? She's saying
that everybody, look, if I have a problem, for example, with my polling place, I just go to the county site. I go to my city site.
She's talking about she's talking to journalists, local journalists. Your job is to shame your local politicians and tweet the New York Times to make sure they know. You're the hotline. That's the essential job of journalism, she just said.
She's a raving lunatic. That's why she was probably fired.
I'm just saying that there was a lot of local journalists nodding their heads, going, yes, yes, yes. One last clip. I'll convince you yet.
No. So the one thing about having kind of local reporters monitoring their own space is a way of people in the community who are not getting accurate information to go to local report. One of the things that's also important there is escalating that then to the platforms themselves. A lot of this just sort of, if it's at the local level, sort of sits below the radar of kind of rising to the level of getting Twitter and Facebook to take action, which they will in the election contest. In the election context, if there's misinformation or disinformation about how, when, and where to vote, that absolutely violates their terms of service, and they will take that down quickly if they see it. And so one of the problems is there's, again, so much stuff out there that they have a problem, I think, sifting through the millions of reports a day that they're getting from average users. So this is where media can play a huge role of flagging something and saying, like, hello, Twitter, essentially, Twitter, Facebook, this is happening. Here's this thing. It's been up here 2 days. And then
they're supposed to be brown shirts, little NSBers, little collaborateurs, little narcs. Journalists. Yeah.
Well, they better. No wonder they can't have to go to the sci-fi group or whatever the name of that company is to get a quote.
Sideline.
They're spending too much time on Twitter.
It's a structure. This is why the Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, they're messaging systems. They're nothing more or less than just messaging systems. And that's why everything gets taken. Facebook is now removing. This is so funny. Let's see. We have Facebook. Where the hell is it? They're removing any photograph that's blackface. So they're if you're Al Jolson, you're deplatformed. You're dead, but you're deplatformed basically. There was something else that I read about Twitter doing something like that. But yeah, it's just completely shutting everything down.
So if somebody wants to know what blackface is, by example, what do they do? Where do they go?
Well, I don't know. How long will it be until Google takes up the same action and removes all photographs of blackface? It also, any photograph that, any caricatures, anything like resembles a Jew with a hooked nose, that'll also be taken away. Now we're getting into political caricature. Of course, it's all hate speech. Whatever that is, it's all hate speech. But that's the level that it's going down to.
Not on the No Agenda show.
No, and I would like to tell you more about the Shadowgate video, which ties right into this topic, and we will do that after I say in the morning to you, the man who put the C in China's Belt and Road, John C. Dvorak.
Well, in the morning to you, Mr. Adam Curry. Also in the morning to all ships at sea, boots on the ground, feet in the air, subs in the water, and all the dames and knights out there.
Yo, in the morning to all of le trolls in lateral room. Let me do a troll count. Hands up, trolls! We have 1751. We're 49 short of a normal day, so that kind of goes in line with the Zephyr. Slow, 8 cars, and nothing else going. Good to have you here. NoAgendaStream.com is where everyone hangs out during the live show, but it's a place to visit 24 hours a day. I'm in it almost all the time, at least logged in. And we have a stream that plays simultaneously, and you can listen to live shows, podcasts, no interruptions, no commercials. It's all value for value. And while you're in there, hit up Doug, ask for an invite to No Agenda Social. NoAgendaSocial.com, which you can only really get to through an invite, is our federated social network based on Mastodon, where the signal to noise ratio is so good. Even John C. Dvorak has essentially left tweeting on Twitter to join the Federation.
Yeah, Twitter's no good.
And then, thanks to
I've noticed that, Twitter was good in its first early iterations. I've said it on the show before, I'll say it again. When you used to go on Twitter and you say I had like 20,000 followers, I would send a link or I'd do something, and you could find ways of tracking these things, and you would get about 10% of the people to click on it or do something or follow up. Now that you have 100,000, and say that total was, I don't know, 700 people. If you do it now with 100,000 followers, you don't get to 700 anymore. You get like 2. It's useless.
Well, there's reasons for that. One is it's not a messaging system for you. We don't have to go into that again. But also, I think the algorithms are geared towards, and that's really what Shadowgate is about, which we'll talk about. And so that could explain some of your own issues with it.
Well, I don't care. I just went to Mastodon. I get the good response, and sure, there's not that many people there. Is just a fraction, but it's a strong fraction that actually does stuff.
Yeah, and and there's no algos messing with your head all the time.
Right.
It just kind of works. In the morning, to our artist for episode, what was that? 1268. That was Jordan 33. Jordan 33 has won this top position before. Very simple piece, very elegant. New World Order 2020 with the E, the Biden E, and 3 stars on each side of this sign, signifying 33, of course. Everyone who's in the know saw that. Just a great piece.
Simple and workable.
Was there anything else that we were talking about that should be reviewed?
We found there was nothing there. It was we couldn't find anything, and then identified this piece as the one that would actually work, and it was clean, and it was nice, and it worked.
Yeah, I'm trying to see if there was.
There wasn't really any competition, to be honest about it. Yeah, but I did get a kick out of something.
What did you get a kick out of?
Well, you had we posted the wrong show number.
Yes.
Initially.
Yes.
And but anyone who's looks at the site knows what show is coming up. So after the show is over and in a pre-art for the stream for today's show, a really good piece was done by our friend Comic Strip Blogger. But because he got confused, he put No Agenda 1268 for today's show, which is 1269. I would have actually used this art for the newsletter, but he got his number wrong.
And that was the Kamala and Joe. Which piece of art was it? Okay, stopping tape. John just dropped out for some reason. I'm gonna guess power outage, but who am I? Let's see if he comes back. Oh boy. Yeah, I think Comic Strip Blogger took JCD out. There you go. What happened?
I don't know. I just lost the connection right in the middle of my spiel.
Okay, hold on a second. Let me see. What was I saying here? Kamala and Joe, which piece of art was it? Go.
Well, anyway, it was the one was Comic Strip Blogger's piece we're talking about, right?
Yeah. Which piece was that?
It's the one that says 1268.
Yeah, it was with Joe and Kamala.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's got the wrong number.
Well, first of all, yeah, you're right. It was pre-art for 1268, I guess.
No, it was pre-art for 1269, but because of the confusion with the numbering.
I see. Okay, that was my fault, by the way. It was one small thing it was only in the RSS feed, but that was enough to mess people up.
Yeah.
Apologies.
So I was highly amused by this guy. I wanted to use that piece of art for the newsletter, but it said 1268 on it, which is,
Okay, well, I'll take the blame. I'll take the blame for that one.
Now, there was a piece above that, which is submitted for today's show, and I would like you to explain the gag here. This is the one, it's just above that piece. It says Faucier. What is that? What does that refer to?
Faucier?
Fauci or?
Oh. That's Fraser Crane.
You know,
Faucier. As in instead of Fraser. Yeah, I know. It doesn't quite work.
No.
Anyway, as you can tell, there's so much that comes in, so much, and it's all valuable. Every single piece is valuable. Anybody can go take a look at this, and anybody can do stuff with this art. Please consider that. Just like the No Agenda Shop guys did, who just, I don't know, they were doing something in life, and they started the No Agenda Shop, and they licensed by splitting the revenue with the artists to put it on T-shirts, mugs, hats, etc., gaiters, masks, and they kick us some money from time to time as well. So it's a really good value for value deal. I hope you go check it out for the artwork, but also you can print them out, put them on your wall, and the competition continues. We love you, artists. You are providing great value. It makes all the difference when we have different artwork. It's proven because it was in the Mueller report as part of our best podcast nomiker. And that's noagendaartgenerator.com. Let's take a look at the value received through financial means from our executive producers and associate executive producers for episode 1269.
Matt Decker's on top. He's on deck.
Yeah, upper decker.
$500. Dakota Dunes, South Dakota. By the way, they are playing the baseball season. I should mention this, as you said, upper decker. The Oakland A's are the leading team. The Oakland A's are the leading team in all of baseball. And my theory is it's because it's the only team that is comfortable playing to an empty stand.
Did Marty write that for you?
No, I wrote it myself. It's because I follow this team. They're used to this.
That's good. Very good. That's better than my upper decker.
Matt writes, this donation comes from the Siouxland meetup and brings me to knighthood, counting below. I would like to be known as Sir Matt Decker and would like cigars and scotch at the round table. I think they're on there already. Could I get a roll out for the shape-shifting Jews? And I would really like a jobs karma. Siouxland meetup report, meanwhile. It happened yesterday, 8:15 in Sioux City. The meetup was a great success. The meetup produced a Knight and Kyle something, Nordathon,
oh, wow.
I guess.
Hey, go ahead.
Became not a douchebag. We had 7 people in total, with 5 from the Sioux City area and 2 driving in from Omaha. We had burgers and hot dogs in the park and enjoyed the company of like-minded people while taking in the beautiful weather. We plan to host another event in the near future.
So it sounds like there's at least a de-douching in order for at least somebody.
You've been de-douched.
And it's only 20 seconds, but if you don't mind, I'll play their Siouxland meetup report.
This is Brittany, and we are at the Siouxland meetup in Sioux City.
It's Matt Decker. I'm not a douchebag.
This is Sir Vlad of the Midlands in the morning.
Sir Bernie Adama from Hinton, Iowa. In the morning.
Adama!
Yeah. David from Omaha. Sit up already. It's science.
This is Janet from Sioux City in the morning.
Kyle from Omaha. I'm a douchebag.
Well, there you go. I love those reports. Here's what you requested, man.
Roll up for the magical shape-shifting Jews. Step right this way. Roll up for the shape-shifting Jews.
You've got karma.
All right, now we have an anomaly here. We have John Lucas from El Dorado Hills, California, 334.56, and his note is U number 1.
Yes. That's not it's not an anomaly.
Well, it's gonna be one after I read read his email.
Okay.
He says, since you're into the whole brevity thing and 3 characters, the shortest ever donation note, is it? Excluding donations with no notes attached. So this negates the fact that he wrote the note itself, as being the shortest, because now no longer the shortest.
And he got us to talk 3 times as long about it. Well done, sir. Well played, John. Thank you very much. Yes, you're #1. Nice.
You number 1 is
you number 1, man. Thank you.
So it's somewhat racist sounding. Glenn Ashbrook in Alexandria, Virginia, 333.33. Please accept my first donation, No Agenda Podcast, in support of the show, 1269. I was hit in the mouth by a friend and co-worker a few months ago and have listened to every episode since. I don't think my friend Bobby, the Catafarian, has yet donated, so he needs to be called out as a douchebag. Douchebag! Your podcast is an oasis of reasonable discussion on the desert of the current media landscape. Please add my beautiful wife, Ying, to the birthday list, as hers is on 17th of August. Check it, make sure she's on there. For jingles, please pick out a few of your favorites and or oldies and ads. Just take a random one for my benefit. And add some goat-powered jobs karma for everybody.
Okay. Well, 2 classics.
Ebola. It's what we do so you don't have to
You've got
jobs, and jobs. Let's vote for jobs.
You've got karma.
Alex Trapp, 333.33. I better do this right. Read the note correctly.
Attention, humans. The time is nigh to awaken. What is your role in this present struggle? You are tasked by God to protect life, stewards of a priceless jewel, Earth. You can ignore this no longer. You are responsible. May love and light be your tools. Let the plants show you the way.
Let the plants show you the way.
I think he meant planets, maybe, or who knows?
Said plants.
He said plants. You read it right.
That's from Alex.
Thank you very much, Alex.
Sir
Bacevici
in Miami, Florida, 255, becomes associate executive producer. Just donated, he writes. Please credit Joe Salazar.
Oh, okay.
So we have to move his name there.
We'll move him over there.
He's a true friend. True friends are rare because they're always your banner man without asking. Please play Shape-Shifting Jew.
No,
what a coincidence.
No, that doesn't happen often.
Nope.
Unless they're in cahoots.
Step right this way. Roll up with the shape-shifting Jews.
You've got karma.
Caleb Kniffen in Grain Valley, Missouri, 24417, was a listener in 2009. The highlight for me was but he went overboard. The highlight was episode 112, the Vivek Kundra holodeck.
Oh my gosh, that's a
good friend of mine
ago.
Brings that episode up all the time. I returned to the show in early 2017 for obvious reasons. I'm excited to become a knight for my 33rd birthday on the 18th. Would love to be knighted Sir Nifty. Standard spread at the round table. No jingles, no comma. No comma.
Gosh, that's so long ago. Wasn't that one of the first times we really started making fun of this Indian tech type dude? And he was talking about, we have dashboards and a holodeck, something like, it was really weird.
Oh, this was the, what was the thing that you spotted? Was the jump cut, or what was it? Was some term from
skip logic. Skip logic.
We should deploy skip logic. So we should need to do that to improve things. Skip logic.
Skip logic.
And you notice it was the way a script is written for
Joe. For Joe, he needs a skip logic script.
Well, he's already skipped logic. Sir Scott William Knight of Bertaria in Ypsilanti, Michigan.
Now, Joe Biden has a data void. That's what's going on there.
23456 from Sir Scott, Knight of the Bear, blah, blah, blah. Knight of Bertaria, friend of the Jew, enemy of the Grabbler.
Ooh.
John, we remember our time floating around Detroit with you a few years back with great joy and fondness. Adam, you're welcome anytime. You both are pretty good men. I would like to give a shout out to the Twisted Pine Pottery, the whole Fowler family, at Young Deals, YUNGDEALS, and lootsafe.org. Lastly, we'd like to let Carlin know that we are so excited to join you next summer for your wedding. Please remember to put down 3 on that invite to include our future human resource. Much love to the entire No Agenda family and all the bears out there. Stop squirting and start donating.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, I guess.
We'll do that.
Chris Parker in Fraser, Michigan, another Michigonian, $222.22. This is claim knighthood. I've been reached for a while ago with the 1212 monthly donation.
Nice.
Since apparently 2013.
He's from the future, and he's coming back to get his ring.
Good for him.
Yeah.
Please knight me as Sir Zerti of the Great Lakes. No Agenda has been my main news source for many years and keeps me sane as I spend all my free time as a landscape photographer. CPX Photography on Instagram. Keep up the shows, and if I can manage to sell more prints, I hope to donate much more often. Thank you, CPX Photography on Instagram, by the way.
Nice.
Thank you for years of sanity and entertainment. Chris Parker, emailed accounting. He's got that. Okay.
Yeah, it's all good. Thank you very much.
You're on the list.
Yes.
Sir Jimmy James of Oklahoma City. Okay, $200. ITM, our teachers are now set to be on the front lines of the pandemic, and with this misinformation campaign going on, how can we blame them for being scared? I know one teacher, Yay Meetups, that is proud to make that personal sacrifice for our future. Our children will be running things, and I feel they're our future, and our teachers have one of the most important jobs in the world from my perspective. Thank you for your courage, and in honor of the Sir Anonymous Dame Drive, I am making a donation toward Cassidy of Okietown. Zach, you didn't say you wanted to be a dame, otherwise half would have been going to you. Okay, enough jokes. Goat karma for all, no jingles necessary.
What I'd like to do, since Sir Jimmy James hosted a meetup and sent in a 16-second meetup report, let's play it here.
All right, Jimmy James on the scene right here at the Okietown meetup. Yeah. I'm about to throw this mic around the stage. Tell them who it is.
Hey, this is Zach. In the morning. In the morning with Cody. I don't know.
Yay for meetups.
Yay, this is Robbie in the morning. And that right there is the Okietown meetup.
I mean, that's a meetup, man. I want to throw this mic around on the stage. Jimmy James, everybody, thank you very much. Here you go.
You've got karma.
Nicely done.
And last on our list is Anonymous in Lake Oswego, $200. He sent a note in. You might want to cue up the jingle for him. Go podcasting. Gentlemen, greetings from Oregon, and please keep this offering anonymous. I give you a token of my appreciation for the good work that you two perform each week. Your analysis of the news is always spot on, and so many before me have said, it helps keep my amygdala swelling manageable. Please accept this $200 and my sincere wishes that you both keep on keeping on, and that this podcasting gig be lucrative enough to become its own exit strategy. 2020 has surely been a shite year for a lot of folks. I would like to request jobs, physical and mental health karma for all those who can use it. Best wishes. Go podcasting.
Go podcasting!
Jobs, and jobs. Let's vote for jobs. You've got karma.
There you go.
And that's our group of executive and associate executive producers for show 1269. I want to thank each and every one of them for making this thing happen.
And thanks for people jumping in. I know John's note said that we're struggling. We're squeaking by. That was nice of you. Thank you so much. We need that because there's no commercials here. If we talk about stuff, if there's a product, so we like it or we don't like it, that's all. You can always count on full transparency. You can even see exactly what came in the show notes, as we just read to you. So that is how it works. Our producers, executive and associate executive producers, that's why they're there. They get the credits just like Hollywood. And of course, you can use those anywhere credits are recognized. If you have a No Agenda show credit, if you show an executive producer, you may be able to get on primetime afternoon on MSNBC. Everyone seems to be able to do it. So thank you all so much, and we'll be thanking more people above $50 later on in the show. If you'd like to support us for the Thursday episode, which I'm sure will be a doozy, all you have to do is go here.
Dvorak.org/NA.
That's right, everybody. We got more coming up from Milli Vanilli.
Our formula is this. We go out, we hit people in the mouth.
I'd like to mention that the term "shut up slave" has now been entered into the Urban Dictionary. It does not mention us, which it should not. I don't feel that's appropriate, but it is a definition, sarcastic phrase when used as something affects citizens or workers and they can't do anything about it. Has nothing to do with the United States' unfortunate historical exploitation of African immigrants and their children. The person using the phrase is included in the group of slaves. Thanks, Omni Dave, for adding that for us.
Somebody wrote that up.
Of course he did. He told us. He told us about it.
It's a pretty good definition.
So, Shadowgate. This was very interesting what happened.
Well, you better go back a little bit and tell people what you're going to talk about.
Isn't that what I'm starting off? Shadowgate? I'm going to say right now.
You're starting right in the middle. You should...
Shadowgate! It's the top. It's the title. It's the title. Shadowgate.
Okay, well, you just said Shadow. You didn't say it was the title of anything. I want you to introduce Millie Vanilli or whatever her name is.
I'm going to do it all.
Okay, well.
Simmer down, Donna Summer. Shadowgate is what it's called, but it starts with Millennial Millie, who does video reports. She's a millennial, but I think she's 30, early 30s, so she is a millennial.
I think she's an old millennial.
Yeah, she's on the upper edge. She lives in Ohio, and she has been a contractor for InfoWars for quite a while, I think, 5 years at least, maybe, something like that. And she does pieces. She does pieces in Austin, but also in Ohio, and she puts stuff together. I'm not exactly sure, but she's basically a contractor, and it is tagged as Millennial Millie. Her name is Millie Weaver.
We've had clips from her before.
Yeah. I like her. I think she's very entertaining.
She's very talented.
Very talented, very good. So she came out with it was billed as a quote-unquote documentary, about an hour and 20 minutes, and it was titled, What They Don't Want You to See. Did you see it at all, John?
Well, it was on Twitter. Of course, it was said to be censored on Twitter. I don't know what that means because I didn't see the other version. And I watched the beginning of it. It's all the kind of stuff that we've kind of talked about. She does have a lot of new stuff she digs up. She has a funny way of going about things and looking at things. But I didn't watch the whole thing because I figured you're going to review it, and I didn't want to be stepping all over the review.
So it's about an hour and 20 minutes long. It is not a documentary. It's a long-form video piece narrated, which is built around an interview with Tori. Now, Tori, we've played a clip from Tori before, a while back on the show. She was a contractor for government security services, and apparently, I don't believe it, but her NDA has expired, which I don't think is a thing, but okay. And she's felt very comfortable.
I've had NDAs that expire. In fact, I've insisted on it.
From the intelligence industry, and the type of stuff she talks about, you might need some classification. That doesn't expire, we know.
Sounds dubious, yeah.
But she's very entertaining. We played clips of her about Seth Rich, and she knows so much. And she and a guy named Patrick, I forget his last name for a second. Now, he also worked at security service intelligence agencies. Now, he's had a book out about this. So everything he said was not really new. But and the reason I say it's not really a documentary is because, and it was kind of bothersome, but I just tried to relax and not pay attention to it. There's a lot of B-roll stock footage, some of which I've used in the past for pitch videos. It's people walking in offices, screens, close-ups, Matrix-like stuff. Yeah, a lot of filler to overlay the story, and the story is very compelling. And I'm just going to give you the synopsis, which is quite interesting. It talks about, it leads into it properly, and they do quite a good job. Oh, it's so dense. Tina, who knows a lot about this stuff, she said she couldn't quite follow it. So I think they packed too much in, and the visuals didn't always correlate to what they were saying because it was stock footage. But otherwise, it was not a chore to watch through it. When John Brennan, CIA, when he left government before he came back in, which was Where did he leave? Because he went out for a while.
Yeah, I can look it up.
He became involved in the true military-industrial complex, which is what these two interviewees are talking about, which is contractors. And this, we know this, of course. There's probably 1 or maybe even 2 million people in the United States who have high security clearance, because contractors are the ones that really run everything. Everything is farmed out, and that's why you have this revolving door of Homeland Security and CIA and NSA going out and doing, well, you have like the Chertoff group, and they do all the scanners, body scanners and crap for, the L3 company, for airports, after they make sure that everyone's afraid and we got to have them. Then they go into private practice and they make it happen. So Brennan was also running a collection of these groups, really above all of them. And there's names and there's documents and there's clear trails. And these are the companies that we hear about all the time.
He left government service for a few years and became CEO of the Analyst Corporation, TAC.
Yes, TAC. The Analyst Corporation.
Continued to lead TAC after its acquisition by Global Strategies Group in 2007 and growth as a global intelligence solutions division of Global's North American technology business, GTech, before returning to government service with the Obama administration as Homeland Security Advisor in January 2009.
Once everything was in place. So you have to think of these companies that were under TAC, such as Clearview AI. Clearview AI is the company that has scraped hundreds of millions of pictures and has created a facial recognition database. So they're one of the people who are contracted. Really, a lot of these marketing-like companies that get location data, get other marketing data, data brokers. They combine data from credit card purchase, etc., to build up a profile of people. And so the TAC Corporation was working, or I don't know if they were contracting or what the exact structure is, but they have all of these different groups who are aggregating this data and creating profiles of each person, which is just like the marketing guys do, except they went one step further because they are intelligence agencies. And clearly this is all, just look at Snowden, how wishy-washy this all was. And if you recall, when we did the first Hot Pockets tour, one of our dames who actually lent me the original vehicle to do that tour, she was a sysadmin for the drones, and she was telling us that, we knew way before anyone else that the communications weren't encrypted. She left to do another job. The person who came in after her, she was just told to just write the root password down, put it on a Post-it note. This kind of shit's going on. So there's a lot of compromise and a lot of room for people to do stuff. So instead of selling ads, they are looking at people, what they do, where they go, building profiles to start personalizing harassment. And this type of harassment is what you see with the egg people with 3 followers on Twitter. So they will find targets who have the right amount of followers or the right followers, and they'll go in and because they know that, well, let's see, maybe they know your mom died of coronavirus. So these accounts will then start to antagonize you. Man, it's only old people. To get you mad, to get you to react, and then they bring in other people. So they are, in effect, completely manipulating people. This is what the Russians are being accused of. It's these people who are doing it. And the reason why this is happening, as the video explains, which we know, is because of the Smith-Mundt Modernization Act of 2012, which was kind of tucked away in the National Defense Authorization Act. And the Smith-Mundt Modernization Act made it legal for the U.S. government to propagandize online, which we already do with Voice of America and different types of media properties overseas. But because the internet's so connected, it's so complicated, we have to be able to allow for it to accidentally happen in America, even though we're all targeting it towards evil Russia and whatever else. And specifically in that it said they can do this on social media networks. In addition to that, these are the guys and gals who also have access to devices, and because this is the true deep state intelligence agency. They can get a little bit more, or maybe do a little bit more. They already have most of what they need, but this is where I'll play the one and only clip from the video piece from Millie Weaver.
The 2012 changes to the Smith-Mundt Modernization Act of 2012 opened the floodgates for domestic IIA, social media influence operations. Do you think that some of these smart devices were created in order to gain access to the public by the military-industrial complex?
I know that the iPhone really was released within, if not the same month of the IIA policy letter, right? I know for a fact, and you can easily look it up, that the Smith-Mundt Act, Modernization Act, was modified to allow for the influence, dissemination of propaganda to Americans, which had previously been restricted or prevented by the Smith-Mundt Act in the late 40s when it was put into place. When they modernized that, they took away those protections, allowing it to adapt for social media, and then within a few months or just a very short period of time, they came out with the Obama phone.
Everybody in Cleveland, low minority, got Obama phone. Keep Obama in president, you know. He gave us a phone.
Free cell phones to low-income families.
TrackPhone has just started a program here in the volunteer state called SafeLink Wireless. More than 800,000 families here in Tennessee qualify for these phones. The company says this program is about providing a safe link for families no matter what their level of income is.
Very short time after that, they added free unlimited data plans to them.
He also suggested that the contiguous release of the Obama phone with an unlimited data plan played a significant role in fostering the Ferguson riots using IIA.
So that's a pretty big accusation, but I like it a lot, especially since the outfit that provided the Obama phone was called TrackPhone. Jeez. Like we'd understand that joke.
Well, TrackPhone's been around. It's a Mexican company.
I know, but it's one of those wink, wink, nudge, nudge. So what it really added to what we already know is that apparently contractors are out there doing what they're accusing the Russians of, and they can even do it a little bit more with apparently with poor communities who have received the Obama phone, and it could be a part of stirring stuff up. Very possible. Here's where the gate part comes in. Right after they upload it, Millie and her husband are arrested in Ohio on what was continuously said a secret indictment, which I don't think exists, a sealed indictment, it might be. And they're still in jail. And that's when the conspiracy kind of went nuts about, they're trying to stop her to upload it. It's horrible. You know, she's been disappeared. The truth is actually more interesting. So I know a lot of the crew at InfoWars because we're here in Austin. So I know some of the producers, and this was all produced in Ohio, except the interviews were done right after the 4th of July. And Alex, if you look at, and that's another thing that bothered me when I looked at the documentary, you can clearly tell the interviews that are done were not done by Millie. She's kind of, they made some essential television mistakes, I feel, by having her angled too far off the axis for the insert questions. But it was Alex Jones who did the original interviews. And according to my sources, he was unprepared, didn't really do a good job. It took longer for them than anticipated to put this thing together. They kept finding crazy stuff they wanted to put in. They were taking stuff out, such as 5G smart cities, West Africa, beta tests for international police. One thing stuck out to me that didn't make it in, Hillary Clinton's help from Google's Eric Schmidt, known as Operation The Groundwork. And, excuse me, so they're really putting the whole piece together where the existing material was already done. And their only goal of this piece, according to the producer I know, was to be in a position to get these so-called whistleblowers in front of Congress. That was the only mission, which, it's like, okay, who's political here? All right, fine. What we don't know, and is now coming to light thanks to some posts from her mother, is that she's being held on a number of charges in this so-called sealed indictment that has been contact with the Ohio police, and it's for destruction of documents, burglary, and for domestic abuse. And that's what set me off, like, hold on a second, what's going on? Why is there a domestic abuse charge? And who really filed this? And what, if you want to stop somebody from uploading a documentary to YouTube, apparently it wouldn't upload to YouTube, which is one of those things like, they blocked it, I couldn't upload. Maybe it's just a temporary thing. What they did is they then sent it through We Send It, or You Send It, or We Transfer to Alex Jones right at the moment they were arrested. So is this because the shadow government, the deep state, wants to disappear Millie and her husband? No, it's more interesting. Millie's mother is a Democratic operative insider in Hollywood, California. It is my belief that she has two daughters. She is a star maker type person. I'm not exact. I don't have enough information on her, but I know that she has put out some.
Did you get her name? Yes,
it's Frances McCarron, McCarron. From what I understand, she and Millie have had a lot of issues, which makes sense because this mom clearly has Trump derangement syndrome, and one of her beautiful daughters, who she would much rather have be successful in Hollywood, whereas we know, according to John Legend, that's where all the creative people are, and they are, of course, Democrats. They're Democrats. No, she's clearly a crazy Trump person, and she's doing this documentary. But Millie is a lovely girl, and she's at her mom's house, and I guess she had some of the documents that she was going to put into the production, and her mom starts taking pictures with her phone of those documents, which, according to my sources, were not stolen or anything like that. Millie then takes her phone, throws it on the ground, stomps on it, smashes it, grabs her stuff, and leaves. Her mom then filed a complaint against burglary, destruction of property, theft of documents, and domestic abuse. And there's the one thing that we know at law enforcement is there's a domestic abuse situation. Someone's got to go. So Millie and her husband were taken. And her mom now, I don't seem to be able to find it. It may have been taken off. She posted on it. I only saw a picture of Instagram that she didn't mean for this to happen. She actually called the police back and said, please don't arrest them. I just want the complaints in. And now I can't change anything until Monday. They can't drop the charges until Monday. So her mom had her arrested, probably because her mom did not like what was going on, did not like perhaps the inference of some connection to Hillary Clinton. She may be a Clintonista. I'm not sure. Other people in Hollywood, as we know, Millie is very easy to talk about the pedos in Hollywood. And she tried to stop it, and it kind of blew up with this documentary out there. But to say that the deep state is trying to disappear her, no, not at all. But in an odd way, she was stopped by the machine. And that, I believe, is Shadowgate. Any questions?
Hey, you got cut off.
It's okay. Go ahead. You can respond. I've got you.
No, you got cut off.
Well, I was waiting for you. So where did you get cut off?
You said in a weird way.
Okay, out there, but to say that the deep state is trying to disappear.
Oh yeah, it's bullcrap.
No, hold on. But I'll punch you in. Yeah, in an odd way, she was stopped by the machine, and that I believe is Shadowgate.
Well, I guess it's definitely stories misrepresented. I like this woman; she's funny, and if she gets out, she'll be out on Monday or Tuesday tomorrow. The next day.
Yeah, she's a laugh riot. It's a good piece. If I were to give them any advice, it was less stock footage. It really distracted. I do like what this Tory has to say. Stay away from the mom. I do like what Tory. Stay away from the mom. I like what Tory has to say. I'm not quite sure what's up with her. If you're telling me, and that's what she told the producers, no, my NDAs have expired. I can talk about this. She talks about a lot of stuff on her podcast, and I think she has a radio show. So, and I know that the police have been harassing her. So I don't know, but I certainly don't think if you're working. Look, Snowden had a similar type of job. His NDA didn't expire.
Unless you're still working for him and you're just a disinformation source.
Right. So that's the problem now, is that Millie and her husband are being accused of actually that which they were trying to expose, is that this is now this is now an operation to make it look like it just piles on, and it's not exactly like that. But it's a fun piece to watch. It certainly does its business. That the deep state and these intelligence companies, for commercial and political purposes, are antagonizing people, and this is why NoAgendaSocial.com might be better for you, because I have so many of these people show up, and I'm always told, it's Russian bots, Russian trolls. Well, no, maybe it's someone else trying to get Adam Curry pissed off, but it's probably more fun if it's someone with a check mark.
Well, we also get a lot of notes from disgruntled listeners.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not talking about the more recent ones, but, every so often we'll get a bunch of very similar sounding notes out of the blue. We'll get 3 or 4 of them. People that you look them up, they're not a subscriber, they're not on the mailing list, but there's no evidence they ever give it. Some of them, there is evidence they've given money, but it's always like some subscription.
Mm-hmm.
You never know about some of this stuff, but yeah, there's a lot of crap going on.
Yeah. Anyway, I do hope Millie and her husband are going to be okay. But domestic abuse charges can be weird. But stay away from mom. And let's find out about her. Let's find out.
Well,
who
I
that
can't
lady
find
is.
out. I found out nothing looking up Frances McCarran.
Yeah, I know, it's hard.
So if she's a star maker, you think she'd show up in the somehow. I can look in some other sources.
Yeah, you should. That's what I have, and I was working on this most.
I think your theory's correct. She's a Hillbot or a Trump derangement syndrome maniac, and she doesn't like the fact that her daughter's out in Ohio.
with Alex Jones.
And then working with Alex Jones, the devil. So, yeah, okay. So what else we got?
Well, I was hoping you would have something.
I got plenty.
Let's do it.
Let's first of all, let's deconstruct some stories.
Okay,
so the first one I wanted to deconstruct, and it was in the teaser from CBS, and so CBS is pushing, and I'm using the term on purpose, pushing a narrative that Trump is trying to pull the old birth certificate game on Kamala.
Yeah, this is good.
And there's really no evidence of it. I mean, he has acted like somebody asked him in the press conference, and I didn't get the whole thing, and I should have, but to back up this clip I'm going to play, where they say, are you the one pushing this narrative that she's not a natural born citizen? Now, it doesn't take much to figure out that she is. She's born in Oakland. Boom. Maybe she might be I don't know why they don't call her what she is, which is an anchor baby. An American citizen who turns out to be an anchor baby.
Can I give you the summary of what the question was, because I saw it?
Okay.
The question was actually much, much simpler. It it was, do you think this is true based upon an article that was written in Newsweek, an opinion piece by a professor who, as it turns out, has run for a GOP position somewhere. Apparently Trump knows him. And he actually wrote an opinion, which it's like, okay, you can believe it or not, which Newsweek is now very, very sorry they ever published, as they have apologized. In fact, if you go to the article now, it has a big apology on it. And she was asked if he bought into that, and he really acted dumb, like, no, I don't know what you're talking about. No.
He said, well, I've heard this, but I don't have any opinion. But CBS doesn't care.
No, of course
they're going to keep pushing the fact that he's trying to do this and he's a schemer. I mean, you got to make up your minds. Either Trump is the dumbest guy in the world, or he's an evil schemer. They had the same problem with George W. Bush. On the one hand, he was the dumbest guy in the world, but on the other hand, he was an evil schemer who could think 2 steps ahead. I don't know. It just makes no sense to me.
Is it possible that, knowing Trump, that he was totally okay with this professor doing it and he knew about it? Because what the hell? He might as well throw it in there. It's not really going to hurt him if he's not saying it. I think he knew about it. I think he thought it would be cool.
I would guess, if it was me, that he has enough of a sense of humor to not only think it's cool, but to think that the media getting all worked up about it is hilarious.
Yes, exactly. That's my thinking.
But meanwhile, when they do this, you're going to hear another one of these CBS clips where they bring in discrepant information. They pack it together. There's no connection between the clips they play and what they're saying, and the clips they play and what they're saying. It's just really a piece of crap. And they got nothing. They got nothing, but they're going to run with this story anyway because it gets their base worked up. This is CBS making something out of nothing, the Kamala birthright.
Since Joe Biden named Senator Kamala Harris as his running mate, false claims about her eligibility to be on that ticket have surfaced. Harris was born in Oakland, California. She is an American citizen. CBS's Ed O'Keefe is setting that record straight.
Ready, get set, go. At an event alongside Joe Biden officially putting their names on the Democratic ticket, Kamala Harris brushed off questions about the Trump campaign's new constitutional conspiracy.
Senator, what do you make of President Trump and Republicans' attacks on you?
I'm signing this because I am in this race to win, and with that guy right there.
The president and his campaign are now publicly stoking a false and racist theory circulating among his supporters.
Hold on a second. Stop it. I should have broke this up into a bunch of mini clips. Back it up, and it goes like this. It says, Kamala, it was something about Kamala either denying it. She was asked, they cut to her, and all she's doing is saying, I'm signing this.
Yeah, it has nothing to do with it. Nothing at all.
And my partner is right over there, Joe Biden. So why is this clip being played with the premise that they've given it? I mean, listen to the premise they give this clip, and then listen to the clip.
I think it's pre-bunking.
Harris brushed off questions about the Trump campaign's new constitutional conspiracy. Senator, what do you make of President Trump and Republicans' attacks on you?
I'm signing this because I am in this race to win, and with that guy right there.
Wait. The reporter asks, what do you think of the Trump attacks on you? It doesn't say specifically about the birthright thing.
Exactly.
Just Trump. And Trump has attacked her.
Yeah.
Says she's a big dummy. But
yeah, phony.
So he asked, what do you think about the Trump attacks? And then she says, I'm just signing this. It's got nothing to do with the narrative of this piece.
Yeah, but it shows she's above it all.
Yes, it does. But they don't emphasize that. So I don't think they meant that
all right.
Necessarily, because I go along with you.
Work for me. Yeah.
This race to win, and with that guy right there.
The president and his campaign are now publicly stoking a false and racist theory circulating among his supporters.
False and racist.
Publicly stoking a false and racist. Why is it racist?
Well, hold on. First of all, he was publicly stoking because he did something on Twitter. So that's where that comes from. And racist, I don't know. There was racist when everyone was doing it about Obama. I don't know why. It's basically saying, I think the racist part comes from, and I've done the work, so I know. That person is brown or black. let's question their heritage. That's racist.
Let's back up. He did the same thing, as you recall, with your buddy Ted Cruz.
That's right. He was born in Canada.
Oh, he's Canadian. He's not even an American. He can't do this. He can't do that. Is that racist too? I mean, you got to make up your minds.
Yeah, but he's not. His skin is white.
Well, then how is the narrative racist when it's...
Are you really asking me to explain how this works?
No, I'm not. I'm just making a fuss. Just keep playing the clip.
You're right, though. That's how insane this is. Different skin color, it's racist. That's all that it is.
Circulating among his supporters that Harris is ineligible to run for vice president.
I heard it today that she doesn't meet the requirements.
Years of settled law say otherwise. Harris is...
Sorry, I got to stop. Bullshit. That's not true. That it is not settled. It is something that's been discussed for ages. They're ant-fucking about, the word or the words subject to. So hasn't been settled, it's accepted.
That she doesn't meet the requirements.
Years of settled law say otherwise. Harris's parents immigrated from Jamaica and India and weren't citizens when she was born in the United States. Experts say her birth in Oakland, California makes her a natural-born citizen, which the Constitution requires for the president. Mr. Trump, who says he opposes the idea of birthright citizenship, has done this before to Barack Obama.
Why doesn't he show his birth certificate?
On CBS this morning, his son-in-law did little to clarify the president's position.
He just said that he had no idea whether that's right or wrong. I don't see that as promoting it. But look, at the end of the day, it's something that's out there.
You accept that she's a qualified candidate?
I personally have no reason to believe she's not.
Today, the president said he had no issue with a woman of color running.
You don't see her as a threat?
As you know, none whatsoever.
And appearing at a women's conference at the same time, Harris acknowledged her history-making week.
Joe Biden had the audacity to choose a black woman to be his running mate. How incredible is that?
Ed O'Keefe, CBS News, Washington.
I like the I was going to say, I like the audacity because
the audacity is a reference to Obama.
Yeah.
But it's also a kind of a racist thing to say in itself. In other words, racist Joe had the audacity to pick a black woman.
She's really not lying when you think about it.
And it's audacious. So... this whole thing, this is a phony story created by the mainstream media to try to embarrass. I don't even know what it does. It doesn't work.
I think it brings attention to her self-identifying as a Blindian. That's my new word. Blindian.
Did you get that one from Mo?
No, someone else. He agrees she's not black, that's for sure.
She's a Blindian.
Sorry, I couldn't help myself.
Let's play the ad for Kamala that was put out by the Trump campaign immediately after she went, because I wanted to play on the last show. I think it's pretty funny. This is C-SPAN plays the anti-Kamala ad.
Earlier today, the Trump campaign and the president with this ad released just a few minutes after the announcement officially was made.
Did you see the other commercial that came out?
No, you got it?
Kamala, Chameleon.
Very funny. So I like the way they do their commercials. They got a good voice. I like the guy's voice. Voiceover guys
for America.
He sounds like somebody you'd believe. And they really, the ad wasn't about Kamala at all. It was to slip in just a little brainwashing technique, the little slip in of Joe's not that bright.
Yeah, and Slow Joe. I like that.
And they call him Slow Joe.
Slow Joe is dynamite.
This is really the target here. Joe Biden be slow and dumb.
Yep.
They'll say about the left wingers are taking over. Oh, the communists are running it. But no, that's a cover for what they're trying to do here.
I was looking at some Joe stuff, And actually, I was looking at Greece and Turkey and what's going on there. And I stumble across a video from January 19th. This is the New York Times editorial board. You know how the editorial boards are also important, and the candidates have to go and they have to be grilled by everybody in the conference room. And it doesn't matter what he's saying, but listen to Joe January 2019. January 19th, 2020.
And so what I think we should be doing is taking a very different approach to him now, making it clear that we support opposition leadership, making it clear that we are in a position where we have a way in which was working for a while to integrate the Kurdish population who wanted to participate in the process in their parliament, etc. Because we have to speak out about what we in fact think are wrong.
I think this is 40% better than I've heard Joe speak recently. I think something happened.
Well,
something happened. He got. Remember, he had the big bloodshot eye during the debates, or somewhere he had that.
Yes, during the debates he had the bloodshot eye.
I think something happened, and he's been in the basement. Why? He was probably recovering. This is not the slow Joe that we've seen in the past couple of video bits.
No, this is the corn pop Joe.
This is corn pop Joe, exactly. Something happened, I think.
Well, we'll find out, because we have to remember, and everyone should know this, that tomorrow is the Democratic National Convention.
Yeah.
And I believe Joe speaks on Thursday. And there's something weird about this convention, because first they're going to nominate and approve Harris as vice president on Wednesday, and then Joe on Thursday.
That's in case Joe doesn't make it to Thursday.
I mean, I always thought, and I could be wrong, but I used to watch these conventions even when I was a kid.
Yeah, they're great.
They nominate, they go through the process, they get the president guy, and yay, he's our guy, and then he picks the vice president after that.
Yeah.
And then they all, yay, we agree with you, and then they all close the ceremonies.
Right.
So this is back-assward
for
a reason.
I know why. It's obvious. Something happens to Joe because Thursday's a show day. So we got to nominate Kamala first. That is bothersome, John. That's really bothersome that they do her first. Because there's even an animated No Agenda video about how this works. By the way, thank you, Dame Jennifer, another fantastic episode of the Vape Crusader. There's a whole thing. We have we did a whole spiel on it. You did, about how you write it down. There's a list at the top, and they put a couple more names at the bottom, and everyone says, okay, yay, we'll take the number one. And now they're going to do her first. That's interesting.
I found it very peculiar. And it's just something's wrong with it.
Something's up.
But it's all going to be virtual. There's going to be nobody standing around. There's going to be no cheering. And somebody pointed out that this may be the end of the road for the old-fashioned conventions, which are pretty dated. I mean, where everybody comes in from out of town, and it's really a party. Especially the Democrats knew how to put one on. There's all the Democrat liberal limos they used to have when they had it in San Francisco. There'd be all these limos and hookers, and these guys would come in from all over the place. They'd party it up.
The Bill Clinton days. Good
Those
times.
days were, this COVID may have ended that, and it's all going to be, now it's just nothing. There's nothing going on that's important. It takes a lot of the spirit out of the party. I mean, if the Democrat Party's not spiritless enough, this is just going to take all the wind out of their sails, because Trump wants to do something live because he likes the big audience.
Yeah, and if you've noticed, it's kind of like he's got Kanye doing all the crazy Trump stuff, because that's basically what Kanye is doing. And he's gone, if you watch these recent daily briefings he's doing, it's just him. He gets up at the podium. To me, he's delivering the quarterly results to the board of directors. He does that. He knows the numbers. He's very familiar. He moves quickly. Blah blah blah. Does a couple questions. Doesn't get pissed off. Talks very calm the whole time. Doesn't like the question. Moves on to the next one, and then cuts it off after a couple questions. Goodbye. He has changed For what reason, I don't know. I know that he doesn't have to do a lot of the crazy stuff that's on Twitter mainly, but not on TV. It's a different guy now. It's the Trump with the other tie.
Well, it takes Kayleigh off the podium, which kind of bothers me.
Well, he also did announce a little thing like a peace deal, which was...
nobody... Oh, by the way, if you remember that rundown we ran on CBS...
Yeah.
What was that in there?
No. None of it. None of it. It's disgusting. In fact, here's another story. I happen to have this is the only thing I could find on CBS about the FBI lawyer that has confessed.
Oh, yeah, that's another story that wasn't in the rundown.
Here's CBS. Let me see. Here we go.
Tonight, a former FBI lawyer has agreed to plead guilty to making a false statement to justify surveillance of former Trump campaign advisor Carter Page. A lawyer for Kevin Kleinsmith says his client admits to altering an email that was used as evidence to obtain a FISA warrant. Today, Page called the result a, quote, good first step toward justice.
That's it. That's all they got. That's all they got.
Yeah, it's a good story, too, if you really look into it.
Well, the way the indictment was written, and I haven't analyzed this, but there's been some... the indictment's in the show notes, but looking at it, the way it's written up, we're not going to see any more announcements or... It's just going to be... indict, arrest. It's going to be boom. It's going to go 1-1-1. They're not going to be... This guy who could have gotten 20 years is now being... apparently, he's looking at 5 years. So he did a deal. He did a deal. So something is coming. Oh, and the one thing I forgot about Millie's piece, which I thought was quite good, that on the antagonizing side was Paul Manafort and Roger Stone, and they were using these Brennan networks to influence the elections in Ukraine. That's just an interesting little point that you should know about.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, the other one needs a little deconstructing because we're getting nothing, which is the post office stuff.
Ah, I have thought about this. Do you have any clips?
Because I got 2 clips. We can play them. This is the post office rundown from CBS.
Okay, hit it.
Margaret, tonight the head of a union that represents postal workers tells CBS News that there is an assault on the U.S. Postal Service being led by President Trump. He says the president is undermining vote by mail to keep people away from the ballot box. Tonight, the Postal Service is warning states that there's a significant risk that some ballots will not be returned by mail in time to be counted. There is growing uncertainty over how post offices across the country will handle a crush of mail-in ballots as more voters opt to stay home during a pandemic. Democrats want to give the process more federal funding in a coronavirus relief deal. But on Thursday, Mr. Trump said he opposed it, claiming mail-in voting leads to election fraud.
If we don't make a deal, that means they don't get the money. That means they can't have universal mail-in voting.
Former President Barack Obama responded in a podcast interview.
What we've never seen before is a president say, I'm going to try to actively kneecap the Postal Service to encourage voting.
President Trump seemed to walk back his remarks today, saying he would sign an agreement with mail-in voting money in exchange for Republican priorities.
I would certainly do that, sure. I would do that.
Democrats also claim the new Postmaster General, a major Trump donor, made big changes to operations to sabotage mail-in voting. CBS News has learned the Postal Service's Inspector General has opened an investigation.
You want my analysis here? You got more?
But I got a couple more, then you can do your analysis. Because this next one, which is again from CBS, I want you to see if you can ring the bell when you hear the loaded word that is dropped in by the woman who's doing the holding up the fort for Nora.
What am I playing?
You're playing the post office to votes to Obama to
got it. Is that the one?
Yeah, this is a beginning. This one, we don't even need to play, but this has got the loaded word in it. See if you could, as soon as the loaded word plays, you can stop the clip.
Tonight, the Postal Service is warning states nationwide it may not be able to handle the expected flood of mail-in ballots this November, suggesting all of the votes in this year's presidential election might not be delivered in time to be counted. Today, President Trump again threatened to withhold federal funding, even members of his own party say is desperately needed by a postal service that's stretched to the limit. And even as the president continues to falsely insist mail-in voting will lead to widespread fraud, today we...
Falsely? Okay.
How's that reporting? There's tons of evidence to back this up. Falsely insisting.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, in our WBUR outlet, we have the Massachusetts news. No one wants to really discuss it. They're concerned about this on the other side, with or without the money. This is the last clip, then you can go on. This is MA ballots.
The Heads in Massachusetts is urging anyone voting by mail to apply for ballots early and send them back early. The Postal Service is warning states that it might not be able to deliver ballots in time to be counted. Secretary of State Bill Galvin is planning to discuss the issue early next week.
Okay. This is really quite simple, and I don't know why people don't see it. People who are in the news business should. So there's a negotiation. It was the HEROES Act, which came out, that must have been June by now, I think. That's the House passed the HEROES Act, the follow-up to the CARES Act, which gave us the $1,200 and the unemployment insurance, etc. They came with this and they passed it. So, hey, Senate, all you got to do if you need this is just pass this. Of course, when you look at it, there was a lot of stuff in there. One was the $1 trillion for states that have huge bond problems, and they're mainly Democrat states, run states, and they'll just have to go talk to China because that is something that Trump doesn't want to do. And as a taxpayer, I don't think it's fair either. We got to help people out. We got to make sure that stuff is functioning, and something has to be done about these failures. But yeah, $1 trillion? No, thank you very much. No, you should move to somewhere else where it's run better. So he's in negotiation, this guy, and he does it in the open, which I love it. The first thing he does, if you recall, is talks about the FBI building. Oh, no. Yeah, as a part of this deal, I want the FBI building a new building should be put there. And then, however it happens, the Democrats and their media friends start saying, he doesn't want the FBI, he doesn't want a hotel to be there. It would compete with Trump Tower. He's really going to fight for this. And he sticks on it. And he keeps saying it because he doesn't care. He says, okay, I'll give you that. Boom. I think $1 trillion went away. He knew they wanted to do mail-in voting. He had already, the new Postmaster General came in June. And if you look at what's happening in the lockdown, postal mail has slowed dramatically. People are not mailing letters. They're not going out, but people are sending packages. So they started...
Wait. It's not only it's slowed dramatically, but there's also a slowdown by the union. There were 2 times in the last month where I've gone into the post office to get our collections, and
no checks.
I'm looking in there saying, well, I know how many checks there should be every time I go. And I go, there's like 3 envelopes. I said, what happened? This is like a day I should have like 10 or 20 envelopes. She says, oh, there was no delivery yesterday.
Yeah.
What?
And they said it was a union slowdown?
That's kind of what they implied, but they're union members to themselves.
I'm not so sure.
Well, somebody is not delivering the mail once a week.
The union, of course, are super Democrats, so they're not going to be slowing down the mail right now when it has to be proven, even by pumping $3.5 billion in, that it can be done. We can mail in ballots. No, what Trump said over and over and over again about the post office before mail-in voting came up is, I don't understand why they have to deliver Amazon packages for free or for at a loss.
Right.
And so he said, I'm changing this.
You're right. You're right. I forgot all about that.
Thank you. Hundreds of mail sorting machines and use that floor space for machines that handle packages. Why? Because Trump actually wants to make the U.S. Postal Service a very profitable business for the government, for the people, whatever the hell he wants to do. He wants to charge Amazon for that crap. We're not sending mail. So coincidentally, it kind of worked out really well for him that the Democrats' whole strategy was, let's do just crazy mail-in voting. And we have to explain there is a difference between voting by abstention with an absentee ballot, which my daughter does in the Netherlands. You have to write in, you have to do a couple things, and then you will get your ballot, which you then send in on time. What is being proposed here is just sending everybody who has a name and a social security number and an address, or maybe just a name, send them a ballot, send it back, you're good to go, which of course is completely wrought with fraud. Trump now controls the entire process. There's no way that the ballots can go. The longer this negotiation takes place, the less likely it is that the mail-in scheme will work. As the Postmaster General has notified 46 states, I probably can't deliver everything on time. So all he has to do is just wait until it gets close to the wire, and then they'll say, well, we need to put this in, and he'll say, okay, let's chop the $1 trillion for the states down to $350, I'm guessing, and I'll let you do your mail-in voting if possible. Because they thought it was they're such idiots. Like, he's holding on to that. He said 5 times. He said, well, I'll be willing to talk about it, I'll be willing to do it. Yeah, I can sign that up for the...
Actually, there was a clip within the clip where he did actually say that. Yeah. But the way they presented on CBS is, well, he's caved.
Well, it's too late. There's nothing to cave on. It is not possible. It's not like this was unknown. He said, I'm fixing the post office. That's what he kept saying. I put a new guy in. We're fixing it because of the packages. Oh, gee, that happens to coincide with not working out for your crazy idea, which I'm against, too. Are you nuts? I mean, mail-in ballots is one thing, but without the infrastructure and years of planning, no, it's a typical Democrat ploy. See how well their primaries run. No, none of this. So they fell for it, hook, line, and sinker. Boneheads. Super boneheads.
Well, I think that's as good as anything. Any analysis I've heard, especially from the media, is just all freaky.
There was one funny bit in that news conference. Huffington Post. I guess it was their turn. I don't know how often they get to send somebody in. The guy had one question. He pulls down his mask, and he's like, here's the question.
Mr. President, after 3.5 years, do you regret at all the lying you've done to the American people?
After 3.5 years, do you regret it all the lying you've done to the American people? Trump didn't quite understand the question. So he said, what? And it's actually in this little clip. And the reason I want to play this clip is because it is a montage put together by Huffington Post themselves. And the guy's name is S.V. Date, the reporter. With a name like that, I guess he's really good. HuffPo's S.V. Date does end zone dance. Here we go. Trump had no response when we asked if he regrets all of his lies. Let's listen to the masturbatory piece they put together.
Mr. President, after 3.5 years, do you regret at all the lying you've done to the American people?
I've been wanting to ask him for years.
I just like this. I just got to stop it. The question is, all the lies you've told over all of these years, do you regret that? And the first thing out of this libjo's mouth is, I've been waiting to ask this question for years. Huh?
It makes no sense.
No!
I've been wanting to ask him for years.
Please.
So, Mr. President, after 3.5 years, do you regret at all the lying you've done to the American people?
All the what?
All the lying, all the dishonesties.
That who has done?
You have done. Tens of thousands.
Go ahead, please.
he thought about it, didn't he, for a couple of seconds, and then decided maybe the best thing at that moment was not to answer. Maybe he realized there is no good answer to this. I think at some level he knows that he's not telling the truth so often, and the best thing there was probably just to run away from it. I think he was a little surprised that anyone ever asked him that, because a lot of the reporters will not ask him because they want access, but there's a significant percentage of people who still hang on his every word. And so it's important that he be giving accurate information. He works for us. The White House works for us. In a democracy, that's the way it's got to be. And we have a right to accurate information and honest answers from the people who are there, regardless of whether we agree or disagree with their policies, regardless of whether folks voted for him or not.
That's. I think he will win a Pulitzer for this fabulous
for
work.
The unanswered question.
Yes, I mean,
and his little self-congratulatory presentation.
It's so pathetic.
That is kind of pathetic.
Kind of. I think it's just one of the most
HuffPost. I mean, first of all, reporters for the HuffPost, for the most part,
work for free.
They don't get paid. They work for free.
They work for free. Yeah. I was just like, really, bro? That's it. That is. Wow, you are so good, man.
I want you to. I got one little shorty here. I want to play. I want you to respond to and tell me what you think is going to happen here. This is the Uber and Lyft being pretty much screwed in California.
It's quite interesting.
And in labor news, a California judge has ordered Uber and Lyft to reclassify their drivers from independent contractors to employees. Monday's ruling forces Lyft and Uber to grant thousands of contract drivers the same protections and benefits under law as other company employees, including health insurance and paid sick leave.
Yes.
First of all, let's back up. Mm-hmm. You know what my pet peeve is? I thought this was ride sharing. I thought it was you. You had my car. I was having to go to the store, and somebody wants to ride. I was going to pick them up because I got this app. It says, hey, somebody wants to go to the store. I can pick them up. I'll pick them up, and they can send me some money. That was ride sharing. That's how they got around all the licensing laws.
Right.
Now what are they going to do?
So this law, if I understand correctly, was actually put in place to make sure that gig workers weren't displacing full-time workers, which it is the basis of the Uber and Lyft model. It had an ancillary, and I think the rule is if the company does what you do. So if Uber was a livery company and they had cars, then you could not, in California, according to this this law, you could not work in the gig worker perspective because you are doing something they already do, and they would need to hire you full time. Which is why in California, all of the freelance writers for all these online tech things immediately got screwed because there was a small carve out for them where they could do five articles a month, 5 articles a month. Otherwise, they would have to be taken on full time. So obviously, that pretty much killed that business as a gig. So I think this is still the fight that Uber's trying to say, no. We are an app company. We just connect people. We're like an agent. We don't actually own cars or drivers. I think they'll win.
We'll see.
I think they'll win.
It's pretty tough out here.
Well, there's something else going. There's 2 other things. The announcement of the California wealth tax, which would hit you once you have a net worth of $1 million. And from the reports I saw, it can ultimately go up to, like 6% or some crazy number. In addition to your regular state taxes. And the idea is to go get some big bucks from Silicon Valley. Luckily, we got a note from the anonymous gay accountant. And he says, Sacramento has proposed wealth tax on Californians with wealth over $30 million. And I don't understand why I got one. Some advisors do not believe this bill or any form of wealth tax will pass this legislative session, which ends August 31st. However, the push for a wealth tax in California will continue into next year and beyond. So I guess it's coming. Man, aren't you happy you're a podcaster?
Yeah, I'm never going to get to 30 million.
Imagine if you had stuck it out in journalism.
Well, I wouldn't have got there that way either. I'd have to go become one of this flax for one of the big Silicon Valley startups.
And then the final is this this proposed. I guess it's on the. On the ballot, is to change Prop 209, which is the anti-discrimination clause. And I have a clip here from Ward Connerly. He is the president of California for Equal Rights, the original author of Proposition 209, which stops anyone from really favoring one person over the other for government jobs, for school jobs, etc. It kind of sets the tone for all of society. And he's, as you can imagine, he's rather puzzled and upset by this.
In the name of affirmative action, we are doing discriminatory acts against people largely who are white and of Asian descent, primarily Americans who are Chinese in descent, but Americans. We're doing it and nobody seems to care. And the entire political structure, which is a monopoly of Democrats in California, believes that they're doing God's work by discriminating against people. Proposition 16, which would repeal the initiative that 55% of the people in my great state of California approved. And that initiative, Proposition 209, reads, quote, "The state," that's a small s, "the state shall not discriminate against or grant preferential treatment to any individual or group on the basis of race, sex, color, ethnicity, or national origin in the operation of public employment, public education, or public contracting." Tucker, 37 words, no hidden words, no secret to it. It is simple and it's direct, but they want to repeal it. And the ballot label that will guide the voters says that this is an effort to allow diversity. It is corrupt. It is morally corrupt. It is a plague on our democracy to mischaracterize it. And we're worried because we don't have the dollars that they have. They've had two people contribute $1 million apiece. The founder of Netflix and another billionaire, they've kicked in $2.5 million to do this, and I'll bet you they couldn't tell you what they were doing if their life depended upon it. But that's where we are.
Well, I kind of have a hunch of what this is really about.
Okay.
You might be able to get a hint of it by, I got this weird clip that came from, again, WBUR, and I didn't know anything about this. This, in San Francisco, there's a 4-block area that is now considered a transgender district that has been founded called the Compton District or something. I don't know why they named it after Compton. And I have the clip of it here, and you play it, and within the clip, you'll see why I think where my theory comes from.
San Francisco is now home to the world's first transgender district, which spans 4 blocks in the city's Tenderloin neighborhood. Arya Saeed is the founder and executive director of the Compton Transgender Cultural District, and she joins me now to talk about the importance of it. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yes. So, Arya, you moved from Portland, Oregon to San Francisco when you were 19 years old, and you had a lot of expectations of what life would look like as a trans person there. But reality did not exactly meet those expectations. What did you discover, and what in your discoveries made you decide that a district was needed?
I, like so many Black trans people, came here for refuge because no other place in the United States felt safe. And what was debilitating was that I never saw any other Black trans people who were employed or stably housed, etc., right? And so even coming to San Francisco, I would interview interview for jobs and people would start laughing as I entered the room, or I wouldn't get hired because I was trans, and it was very obvious that that was happening. And I found that me and so many of my Black trans women sisters in the Tenderloin, we had no other option but to engage in survival sex work. And so all these years later, in founding the district, I think we are facilitating a conversation and what I believe to be a radical solution in addressing our disparity.
Whoa.
Now, this goes on for 15 minutes.
Pretty loaded, man, this.
Now, this has been going on in California for a while, which is discrimination by appearance.
Right.
And this guy pointed it out. He says, I go in for a job interview, and they'd actually literally, I don't know what this guy looks like. He's a black guy, I know that, but who knows what he looks like, you can imagine.
You are misgendering she. It's okay, I'm just saying it.
He goes in there, and the next thing you know, it doesn't sound like it. You know, the problem is he could have.
I understand. It doesn't sound like it.
But anyway, so she goes in there, and they laugh at him, and he finds this offensive, and I'm sure it is.
Yeah.
But I remember watching some guys. There'd be a guy that would come on bitching about this, not the transgender person, just a punk with face piercings and. You know, tattoos on the face.
Yeah,
and
the blown out
horns.
Horns, blown out earlobes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the earlobes, big giant things hanging
Basically,
there.
my daughter's birthday party. Yeah.
And he wanted to be in a public-facing job as a cashier somewhere in some business. They wouldn't hire him.
Right.
And he felt that this was and he and others felt that this was a violation of their civil rights because they're not getting these jobs based on their horrible looking appearance. And this has been an issue in California for a long time, and this is what we're really leading to here. You cannot refuse to hire somebody, even though they're going to be facing the public and be a representative of the firm, because they look like hell. You can't. No. You can't. You have to hire.
But I don't understand.
This is where this is going.
But I don't understand how this actually helps. The law, as written, Prop 29, should give them actual protection, not for a commercial job, but for a government or school job. How will removing that make it better? Doesn't that just give the businesses more chance to say, no, there's no law, I'm discriminating against you, bye?
No, they're going. You watch. There's going to be something to follow up on this.
I believe you. I believe you. We're just not. We haven't seen it yet, or we haven't figured it out yet.
You don't do it all at once,
right?
But it's these, and I will just say it: horrible-looking people that have made themselves horrible-looking, wanting these jobs because maybe they're even qualified, but they're just horrible-looking, and they think that we should make exceptions for them doing this to themselves.
Well, in context of diversity and equity, and that's what this is about, is the equity. So we need to have as many trans people, as many black people, as many brown people, white people, shut up, as many, whatever, trans. And so in the hiring situation, the idea is, you just give them a boost up. It's called favoritism. So that would be something that could happen. My favorite way of achieving equity and diversity is the Kurt Vonnegut way. If you've never seen it, go look at Harrison Bergeron. It's on YouTube video. Where, so there's a horrible-looking person, and you're beautiful. Now, you can both work at the store, but because you're a beautiful, we're going to put a mask on your head, so there's equity.
Yeah.
You're a great dancer, we're going to put ankle weights so you don't dance as well as the rest. That would be my favorite way of doing it, but okay. It's San Francisco, they do everything in a boring way. Ugh.
Yeah. Well, there was a couple of Twilight Zone episodes addressing this issue.
Yeah. Oh boy! Well, at least we don't have to work in a store yet.
I'm going to show my support by donating to No Agenda. Imagine all the people who could do that. Oh yeah, that'd be fab. Yeah, on No Agenda in the morning.
And indeed, we do have a few people to thank. beginning with, let me move my microphone to the announcing position. Starting with...
fist it. You got to fist it. If you move it, you got to refist.
Brittany Kirsch, $150. She had a short comment for show. I don't remember that. It didn't come in as a check. Rufus is next on the list, $140 from Emerald, Victoria, Australia. You may have a report here on some. Oh, this is actually needs to be read because this is a $200. Should be upgraded to associate executive producer.
It's a dollar redo, I think. Dollar redo.
Yep. Yeah. Apart from the excellent deconstruction and information infotainment you guys provide over the years, my donation is mostly due to John's blue moment a few episodes ago. I drove past a sign in my hometown on a fairly regular basis that says "Stay safe," to which I now scream, "Go F yourself." It's very therapeutic, just like your podcast. As for the Melbourne Victoria deconstruction, we Australians' #1 nanny state. If we can save a few elderly residents from contracting Rona, let's lock down the whole place. I'm pretty sure the elderly would prefer fresh air and to see their family, but that's not the way we roll. With the media cashing in on fear and a premiere that is more concerned about what's trendy than what's right, I don't see things changing anytime soon. I was thinking of, with my no agenda hat, Victoria is the only state within Australia that went against the government and signed the MOU, Memorandum of Understanding, with China's One Belt, One Road initiative. We talked about that earlier in the show. And the Australian federal government's going hard at the CCP for their handling of the Rona, and the CCP is losing face. Victoria is currently attempting to discredit the federal government by starting the second wave of Rona, and the subsequent stage 4 draconian lockdown is due to the government not offering a defense force to manage the hotel quarantines, resulting in the hiring of unqualified and bonky private security companies. Anyway,
did you miss Brittany?
I don't have anything. I just said short comment for show.
Oh, no, I didn't hear her name at all.
So. Oh, yes. No, I said okay. Brittany Kirsch, $150 short comment for show.
Okay, crew. Yeah. Thanks, Rufus.
Matthew Wilson's next. Sorry. Sir Chris, the Drunken Minstrel's come in from Merrickville, New South Wales, at $138.29. Now, whether this is...
dollar reduce. Look at it.
So it's $202 according to him. Why don't you read this?
At the time, in the morning, this is Sir Chris Wilson, the drunkard minstrel, who is back from his sabbatical. People were getting worried. In the morning, all my other family, especially Uncle John and Auntie Adam. Now, why do I have to be Auntie Adam? I've been away and missed you all. It's been part of finding that balance between being well-educated yet blissfully ignorant. But I am back on deck and reporting for duty. A point of privilege, of which the color of said privilege is white, I would like to correct the record regarding our southern brethren. Here we go. Despite the many rumors, tall tales, and innuendo from Adam in the last show, I hold no ill will nor interstate grudge towards my neighbors down there in Gitmo Down Under. Gitmo, Mexico Down Under. More commonly known as Her Majesty's prison state of Victoria, home of the green cans. Their weather is punishment enough. Please find my humble donation of $202.02 dollar dues. Yes, that's what we are worth, a mere $138.29 Trump casino tokens. He's poetic. Our currency of color, the red lobsters or $20 notes, yellow pineapples or $50 notes, and such, are forced to ride the back of the donation bus, but that, fellow citizens, is the price of freedom, and I am eternally grateful for the equal opportunity program offered by the No Agenda Nation and the radical and somewhat revolutionary position of all currencies matter. A short report from the former prison island continent. While I have yet to be berated by other slaves for failing to wear a face muzzle, I was berated the other day for misgendering my nearby neighbor's dog. I'll let that sink in for a moment. Thank you to all producers who contribute to the show to keep it running. If it wasn't for you, we would have ads like the one I resent to Adam, using and abusing children to push some product or service that we need. Trump Pelosi jobs and a goat luge karma for all the douchebags, dukes, and everyone in between. And of course, since that is a associate executive producer. We will honor that right away.
Jobs.
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 And jobs. Let's vote for jobs.
In such a condition, the military and the intelligence.
Shoot, I'm sorry. That was quite a fail.
Matthew Wilson.
Hold on, I got his thing. It's important. We got to do it.
You've got karma.
There you go. Sorry about that.
My comment: shorter notes, longer songs. Matthew Wilson's next on the list from Yulee, Florida, $100. Eric Kuragi, $100, and this is a
birthday.
Or Eri, E-R-I. It's a woman.
It's for her husband.
This donation for smoking hot husband Brian. Celebrate his birthday. We got that. Steve Bostador from Jackson, Mississippi, 8888. Dame Janice Oliver from Edmonds, Washington, 8888. But she's sent a check in with us. She's Dame Knight, actually.
Oh yeah, that's right. I remember her.
And she sent a note in, which I might want to read. She's got a lot of hearts and smiley faces all over it.
Okay.
I have nursed an episode. I have not missed an episode, and I have noticed you and Adam do show prep for. Oh, she's listening to that too. Okay. Please christen me. Oh, I don't know. This must be her old note. Her new note is just a card. It says "Happy Anniversary to you, crazy kids."
Oh, there's your 888. There you go. Perfect.
Yeah, 88. It's for us.
That's
okay.
Nice.
Thanks, Dame. Patrick Brandon in Bakersfield, California, 8686. 86th. This means kicked out.
Mm-hmm.
James Foster, 8008, boobs. Sir Herb Lamb, Viscount of Georgia, Baron of the Buford Dam in Sugar Hill, Georgia.
James Foster needed a de-douching. Let me get that to him.
You've been de-douched.
And Herb Lamb's got a call out for his mother coming. Baron for birthday. Baron Mark Tanner. A lot of people on the birthday list. Baron Mark Tanner, Whittier, California, 7654. Sir Rick in Arlington, Washington, 6996. Baron Andrew Jones. Another guy sent us a check, and he sent a note in, which is short. I should read. I don't know if I should read this or not, but I will. I've been mailing, and he sent it. I've been mailing 2 and 3 cent letters for several years, including a couple to you. And I looked at the letter. He had 3 1-cent stamps on it.
Nice.
Corey Ebe and Todd McGreevy used to talk about this incessantly on the Agenda 31 podcast. I understand it to be a relic of the Civil War. I have no idea how it proves the Earth is flat or anything else. Anyway, he has a website that he wants, andrewjones.com. Check it out. It's a website for the Roganites.
Go.
Onward with Tim Griffin, who also sent a note in from Burlington, Wisconsin. Curiously, they both sent checks in, curiously for the exact same amount of money, $69.69.
Wow. Well, it is, after all, episode 1269.
But still. In the morning, Batman and Robin, the amygdala shrinking crusaders. He goes on, he says it's $33 to celebrate 33 years of wedded bliss, and then he has an F cancer donation. We got to put an F cancer in at the end for him.
You got it.
$36.69 in memory of his father and mother-in-law, who both died of lung cancer this last year.
Yeah. Oh man, my mom died of lung cancer too.
Yeah. Well, my mother-in-law
it's a bad one. It's ugly.
Onward with Black Knight, and make sure to put the karma there.
You got it.
Black Knight EZ in Philadelphia, 6666. Misag Yusufpour in Adelaide, South Africa. Oh, no, South Australia. There's what we talked about. 5678 needs a de-douching.
You've been de-douched. Job
karma's at the end. Ivo, is it Welton or White? Welton in Hinton, Iowa.
Evo Velton in Arnhem. What are you talking about? What are you looking at?
Oh, what am I looking? What am I looking at?
What are you looking at?
He's in Arnhem. Okay, yeah. Holland. Sir, there's Bernie Adama.
There you go. We just had him. We just had him on the report.
We heard his voice. Brian Shop 50. The following are $50 donors. We'll get through these, and we'll be good to go. Starting with Sir Brian Shope, Sir B. Boop, Patricia Fegley in Lake Elsinore, John Camp in Antlers, Oklahoma, James Johnson in Seattle, Michael Earlett in Odessa, Florida, Felix Kammerlander in Bad Comburg, Deutschland.
He says, what if Joe Biden will be the shocking celebrity death from contracted from COVID?
Maybe that's why they keep putting him off. Thursday.
He's a JRE. Welcome.
A Deutschlander who's a JRE?
Oh, yeah. Joe's got a pretty big audience.
No, he's got an audience of 12 million. Christopher Mueller in Cedar Park, Texas. Allison Freeman in Coraopolis, Pennsylvania. Allison Freeman. Sir Chris Lewinsky in Sherwood Park, Alberta. Sir Jerry Wingenroth in Saugus. And last but not least, Sir Spud the Mighty in Marietta, Georgia. I want to thank these folks for making this show possible.
Yeah, and thank you to everyone under $50, which is obviously done for anonymity because we cut off. We don't talk there. But also a lot of the subscription programs, which really do help as a base. And as you heard and as you're about to witness, people with 1111 or 1212, 3333, they do make it. After years, you get a ring and you join the round table and you get your hookers and blow or your rent boys and Chardonnay. And of course, again, thanks to our executive producers and associate executive producer for episode 1269 of the best podcast in the universe. And, well, you need to hit out this karma.
You've got karma.
Remember us for Thursday's show. Go to
Dvorak.org/NA. It's a birthday.
Did you do the F cancer karma?
I'm sorry, did you not just hear the F cancer karma?
Oh, well, I know I pulled an atom.
What does that mean?
That means I didn't hear it.
What is that? That's not pulling an atom. Since when is that pulling an atom?
Well, you're the one that didn't hear what's her name's thing at the beginning. It was just a call back to you and the woman at the beginning of the list, Brittany Kirsch.
Okay. None of this will make it in the show.
It all makes it in the show.
I'm cutting it out. Here you go. It is your birthday list for the 16th of August, 2020. We say Joseph Peterson, happy birthday to his wife, Jen. She celebrated on the 13th and turned 47. Steeler Grammall, happy birthday to his dad, Chris Grammall, celebrated on the 14th. Glenn Ashbrook says happy birthday to his beautiful wife, Ying. It'll be her birthday tomorrow. Caleb Niffen, 33 on the 18th. Chris Abram and a cast of thousands say happy birthday to DC Girl, also on the 18th. Ari Kuraji, her smoking hot husband Brian Mickey will be celebrating his birthday on the 19th, and Sir Herb Lamb says happy birthday to his mom, also on the 19th, and we say happy birthday from everybody here at the best podcast in the universe.
It's your birthday, yeah.
No, we don't have any title upgrades. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 nights, or nights to be with the nightings. Do you have a blade?
I have one right here.
Very nice. All right, up on the deck, Matt Decker, Caleb Niffen, Chris Parker, Daniel Jackson, and Matt Kettlehut. Gentlemen, all 5 of you have supported the No Agenda show. Some of you took several years to get there, but in $1,000 or more, that qualifies you for the seat here at the round table of the No Agenda Knights and Dames. I'm very proud to pronounce-ticate the Sir Matt Decker, Sir Nifty, Sir Zerty of the Great Lakes, Sir Crease, and Sir K-Hut of the Prior Lake. Gentlemen, hookers and blow, rent boys, and Chardonnay for you. Also, of course, we have cigars and scotch, cookies and vodka. We got ginger ale and gerbils, some vodka and vanilla. And the favorite standard fare of mutton and meat is here already laid before you. Please enjoy that. And go to noagendanation.com/rings to give Eric the Shill your information. We can get that out to you as soon as possible, along with the sealing wax for your signet ring and your official certificate. And thank you very much for supporting and producing the No Agenda Show. And that hit it. Here we go.
No agenda.
Agenda meetups are taking place everywhere around Gitmo Nation, which, as you know, is worldwide at this point. We've already had a couple of meetup reports. Here is one from Oregon.
In the morning, John and Adam and listeners, this is Josh and his wife Amy, who's a douchebag, and I hit her in the mouth, and she's been listening ever since. And this is Grants Pass, Oregon, and we got a group here. In the morning, guys.
My name is Marissa, PhD chemist.
Jesus loves Adam and John. Brian, astrophysicist.
Kevin, it's like a peaceful protest.
Jim and Diane from Local 33. We drove down to meet up with you guys.
Sir Russ from Hellgate. Good in the morning.
Sir Russ.
This is David Swanson, bus driver from Eugene, Oregon. I'm not a douchebag, but I'm also not like to call out Billy Newman as a douchebag. It's true.
And we're the three douchebags. And we're sticking to it.
Oh, boy. All right, guys, in the morning. In the morning.
It was actually a video. A good-looking group from bus drivers to astrophysicists to the three ladies who are known as the three douchebags. I mean, that sounds like a good report.
Sounds like a party.
Just like a party, in fact. Here's what's coming up on the meetup calendar from noagendameetups.com. Today, in Oxford, North Carolina, Tobacco Wood Brewery. On the way, the 19th of August, Denver, Colorado. The 21st, Amsterdam, the Netherlands. 22nd is Long Beach, California, flight of the 006 of the No Agenda. The 22nd, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Local 76. The 22nd, also in Busan, Korea. I'll bet you that's Jesse Coy Nelson. Michigan Local 1 congregates on August 23rd, August 29th, West New York Local Boob 8008. The 29th, Columbus, Ohio, Groove City, Ohio. And on the 30th, Anaheim Hills, California. NoAgendaMeetups.com, you heard it. Everyone can be there. All walks of life. Doesn't matter who you are, what you do, we expect you to show up, be honest, clumsy, and have a good time because it's like a party. NoAgendaMeetups.com.
Sometimes you want to go hang out with all the nights and days. You want to be where you won't be triggered or held to blame. You want to be where everybody feels the same. It's like a party.
How about an end of show ISO? You got anything lined up?
No, I have no ISOs. I'm sorry.
I thought I had an. Let me see. I had an ISO here.
I tried to pull a couple. I couldn't find nothing.
Blah blah blah. I got that one.
That's a good one.
That's
just go with
good.
that.
Well, okay, we'll just use that one then. Perfect. Anything else to? We're running long. I'm just telling you, we're running long. The affiliates are already
one
phoning.
Clip left.
One clip is good.
I can make it educational. I can make it a kind of the embarrassing Marianne Williamson clip. I could play that.
You've already tried to play that clip 3 times.
I keep trying to play. I can't get to it. I also have the Mars report from BBC, 49 seconds. We should get this out of the way.
Ooh, this sounds like a winner.
A multi-billion-dollar, decade-long effort to bring rock samples from Mars back to Earth gets underway today. The American space agency NASA's latest rover will also search for signs of past life on the red planet. Here's our science correspondent, Jonathan Amos.
Not since the Viking landers in the 1970s has NASA directly looked for life on Mars, preferring instead with later missions merely to describe the planet's ancient environments. But the 1-ton Perseverance rover, with its 7 instruments, a drill, 23 cameras and a helicopter, is geared up to find evidence of biology. It'll land on an ancient lake bed and seal the most interesting rocks in small canisters. Getting these home will involve elaborate future missions that NASA and the European Space Agency are also now preparing.
I thought there was no atmosphere on Mars.
Mm-hmm.
Well, how does the helicopter work then? Tell me.
Maybe you just don't need a lot of helicopter. I don't know. Look, I'm still trying to figure out the moon. Can't tell you. Can't explain that one. That's it for episode 1269. Thank you for being a part of it. Thank you for producing. Up next on NoAgendaStream.com, MoFax, episode number 46. End of show mixes. Jesse Coy Nelson. We've got Professor JCJ, Danny Luce, Steph Jacobson, a cast of thousands. And I think we also have Rad Grandad in there. Coming to you from Opportunity Zone 33 here in the capital of the Drone Star State, Austin, Texas, FEMA region number 6 on the governmental maps in the morning, everybody. I'm Adam Curry.
And from northern Silicon Valley, where we still have occasional thunder going on it's the strangest thing I've seen for a long time. I'm John C. Dvorak.
We return on Thursday. Please remember us at Dvorak.org/NA. Until then, adios, mofos! And such.
Hydroxychloroquine. We don't need a vaccine. Joe Biden's brain is on a vacation far away. When he speaks, it makes you wonder. He doesn't even know what he wants to say. And we know he likes the girls a whole lot younger. Biden's gonna lose to 45. There's nothing anyone can do. Democrats won't survive. Attention everyone, attention. This is your conductor. Face coverings are required when you ride with us and need to cover your mouth and nose. My co-workers are coming to the train with free masks. Free masks for anyone who wants one. Look under your chair, there's a free mask. I look out for you, please look out for me. Wear a mask at all times without any robes. The NTA wants to thank you for wearing your mask today. Let's keep New York healthy. Be safe, and thank you for riding with us.
It's not quite as distorted as the actual subway speakers.
Remember when she gave that speech and she got paid to say a little, all in total $250,000? So, she did it, of course, and it sounded worse and worse, and I think she was completely out of her mind.
Because we feel that together we can change the world, and we know we can. So here, I am a mental health advocate.
And Canada should take them away, haha. Canada should take them away, haha. Yee-oh.
To the Yukon and feed them maple syrup with some Eskimos, but Canada should take them away, haha.
He thought it was a joke, and so he stalled. He stalled when he was asked how much money his mama made to speak. Right? He knows he stalled. We heard him stall. He stalled and stalled and stalled, and then he stalled, but we know he's utterly corrupt. Right?
Again, how much money total have your brother, mother, and spouse received from this organization?
That information has been publicly shared.
Well, then you know who it is.
My mother
how much?
Has
just the dollar figure.
Throughout her life.
The dollar figure, Prime Minister.
Canada should take them away, haha. Canada should take them away, haha. Yee-oh.
It's Jim Carrey painting with Celine Dion, but Canada should take them away, haha.
Hey everybody, we're back with Senator Kamala Harris.
What were you listening to when you was high? What was on? What song?
Oh my goodness. Oh yeah, definitely Snoop. Tupac.
First question, would you like to join the ticket? In those debates, you landed haymakers on Joe Biden. His teeth were like chiclets all over the stage.
What were you listening to when you was high? What was on? What song?
Oh my goodness. Oh yeah, definitely Snoop.
They're experimenting on the public.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I'm not allowed to go to the supermarket in twos, then.
Shut up, slave.
These large parties are unsafe.
COVID-19 was called COVID-19 because it's 19 years since the last bloody disaster he made up. Just a reset button. This is to hurry things up. They want to get Trump off his perch. This is the only way they can do it.
Avian flu. We don't have enough vaccines. We don't have enough.
First of all, there's many millions of doctors in this country. There's Dr. Birx, Dr. Fauci.
Hang on. They bloody mail kills
to fevers.
You know, theoretically, you should protect her.
Of a raging mass debate.
Avian flu on the public. You know, theoretically, you're allowed to go to the supermarket in twos.
There are millions of doctors in this country. There's Dr. Burks. There's Dr. Fauci.
Well, the FDA walking around with masks. No reason to be walking around with a mask.
And America sucks right now. There's everyone. And to that study particularly.
Reset button. This is to hurry things up.
Supporting Trump. A raging mass debate. Because what you're saying is irresponsible.
I help problems for the things that they put the mix up rising, where these Antifa riots.
Those had a side effect.
Yeah, but some of that is not dramatic, where, it's just, super painful. But all Western nations, everywhere, the counselors are all paid off, they're all Marxists. Urine trial produced good news with 2 doses of the vaccine.
Video of a raging mass debate.
Where, it's just, super painful.
In the UK can explain what's going on in the US better than most Americans can.
Coronavirus pandemic is a hoax.
Important to note, volunteers would not be injected with COVID, and it would not lower the hemoglobin.
Services, all warehouses with Dr. Fauci.
Hang on.
The best podcast in the universe.
Adios, mofo.
Dvorak.org/NA.
Blah, blah, blah.
The New Agenda Show with Adam Curry and John C. Dvorak. Live every Sunday and Thursday, 12 p.m., 11 Central. On NoAgendaStream.com. No.
Agenda.
In the morning?
It is the best podcast in the universe. The value. Value.
Model.
Enabling. Stunning. News. Analysis.
Without
integrity. Compromising. Advertisers.
For more than
11 years. Listen live on Thursday
and Sunday.
Mo Facts with Adam Curry for August 15th, 2020. This is episode number 46. And appropriate. Welcome back. We are back. Hey, Mo. You got me in a mood now.
How you doing, Adam?
Yeah, good. You got me in a good mood. I like this. I mean, of course, I grew up with the original Welcome Back by Tom Sebastian.
For the Welcome Back Cotter, right?
That's right. Did you ever watch that as a kid, or are we from a little different generation? Oh, you must have been watching super reruns then at that point.
The reruns, right? But yeah, definitely.
Okay, nice. That's Mace. Yeah.
From Bad Boy.
Well, Mo, we skipped a week. Apologies for all that. We're back, and we're back on track. We presume. You never know. Life is funny that way. And I gotta tell you, man. First of all, how are you? How's everybody doing? How are the kids? Everyone cool?
Everybody's doing good. All 5 kids are doing good. The wife, so.
The wife, okay. Very good. Happy to hear that. So I was.
You're supposed to ask me 5 kids.
I'm not gonna talk about your side hustle, man. I'm not gonna bring that up. I was just going to gloss over it.
Yeah, we had a new addition to the family. Yeah. No, we had a new addition to the family.
Okay.
Of course you would gloss over it because everybody knows you hate dogs, Adam. So
no, dogs are people too, Mo. I have nothing but love for dogs, man. Nothing but love. Please.
So no, but we did add a new addition to the family, American Bully, tricolor black, beautiful dog, needed around the property.
Tricolor black was that?
We're excited. It just kind of looks like a Rottweiler, but it's an American Bully.
I'm looking at him now.
It's weird.
Oh, what a sweet! How old is he?
8 weeks.
Oh my goodness!
8 weeks old. So.
Yeah. Well, congratulations! You indeed have a 5th child. That's wonderful. All right. Yes. All right. Well, the next Mo Facts will be in 4 weeks from now, as Mo will be too busy potty training the dog. What paper? No, you can go outside now, I guess, right?
Yeah, it's not my dog. Trust me.
Gotcha. Yeah.
My wife is gonna pretty much baby him like she does the other four. I already see it.
So, okay, I got it. This gives you an incredible break in life. Everyone's doing their thing with the dog, and you can go sit in your office, your shed, you roll around, walk the grounds.
And I have somebody to complain to the news about. I'm like, you see that, Rocco?
Yeah, exactly.
That's what I'm talking about.
Is that his name? Rocco? Is that his name? Do we have a name?
Rocco.
Oh, nice. So I just have a quick story from my side, because we had been talking back and forth, texting, and I forget, it was 2 nights ago, maybe. Keep around. We're in bed, and I just got the phone, I'm like, I was going to send this link to Mo, it's like 11 o'clock, and I was getting sleepy, so I just sent it. Boom. Text comes back, and I have the sound on. Bleep. And it's Mo. It says, and Tina turns around, and she doesn't have her glasses on. She looks and says, "Who's Mary, and why is she asking if you're up?" Like I was getting some booty call. You up?
It's Jake for State Farm.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what it was. I'm like, it's Mo. Mo. I'm not getting booty calls. That was pretty funny. Anyway, I know if I spin the wheel, I usually say I don't know, but I'm really psyched because, of course, I do have an idea of what today's show is going to be about. So as I roll out that wheel of topics for Mo Facts with Adam Curry, we find out what today is. What kind of topic will we bring you? The wheel of topics says what nobody knows except Mo, and today I do.
Pizza potluck.
Yeah.
Potluck.
Love me some potluck.
Wait for it.
Who did that? Was that Dame Jennifer again? Did you make her sing now? Is that what that is?
That's actually from a kid's show. I forget, the name slips my mind, but it was from a kid's show. But I thought that was hilarious, especially the last part. But yeah, here we are.
Yes, and to remind everybody, this is a value for value production, which means we take no commercial money, no advertising, no nothing under the table, no host reads, no endorsements. We talk about things because we actually mean it. And that's the only reason why we can do this. There's no way to cancel us, and we're supported entirely by the producers of this program, who we will be thanking later on in the show. But up front, thanks to everybody for sticking with us, for staying subscribed, and for supporting. And I think we're back to some interesting potluck topics, just glossing over the list. Where do you want to kick it off?
Let's dive into the first dish.
Kanye West has officially filed to get his name on the ballot as a presidential candidate in Wisconsin. Since he announced his candidacy last month, he has had mixed success meeting ballot requirements in various states. It's becoming increasingly clear he's getting help from Republicans and Trump supporters, leading some to question whether a clearly vulnerable Mr. West is being used to try to siphon votes away from Joe Biden.
Are you aware of or have you encouraged anyone in the party to help him get on the ballot, including
No, not at all. No, not at all. Other than I get along with him very well. I like him. I like his wife. His wife recommended certain people, as you know, including Alice Johnson, who's a fantastic woman, but his wife recommended certain people to get out of prison. They were in prison for a long time. A long, long time. It should have never happened. And I took what she said very strong, Kim Kardashian. And she's got a good heart, very good heart. And I like Kanye very much. No, I have nothing to do with him getting on the ballot. We'll have to see what happens. We'll see if he gets on the ballot. But I'm not involved.
That's what it appears. That's what it appears to be. I mean, the dynamics that existed in 2016 that assisted Donald Trump in being elected do not exist this time around with Joe Biden, in my opinion. And if you look at Jill Stein and the impact she had in several battleground states, it's very clear that the numbers would indeed assist Donald Trump.
I am so happy that we have this in our potluck stew for today. The dis and misinformation about Kanye West. And in fact, some of the, man, I got to tell you, I saw, they had to bring out Jim Clyburn, he's the whip for the Democrats. He's the guy that pushed Biden over the edge. They had to bring him out to say Kanye's nuts. It was. It's just,
Kanye is a big problem.
Yeah, that is true. Kanye is a big problem, and they know it. And man, it's fun to watch all the media that is either Me Tooing with some narrative that's being created or doing it themselves. It's really, really. I have not seen this level.
Yeah, and as Shermichael Singleton, who's a political consultant, said, he could basically play the spoiler like Jill Stein did in 2016.
Yeah, sure.
But with an even bigger impact, because in those states, those critical key states they need to win, there's a large black population. And if he could shave off a few points off of every one of those states, or a few of those states, it could be a huge political impact to that. And I think the Democrats know this. They've known this for a long time.
I need to interrupt, and I'm sorry, but there's something that hit me the other day. I think and I know I mentioned on No Agenda, because you just said black population. Usually you say so-called black.
Right.
But now that Kamala Harris has self-identifies as black, I just wanted to know what's the vibe, man. It's like, to me personally, I felt, well, if we just look at color, she's brown. Politicians are always talking about the black and brown communities, which I guess is
right.
Two separate zip codes, maybe one big zip code. And
the color people.
So when a when a non-ADOS person says they identify as black and it's adopted as such, does that mean all brown people are black, or ADOS? Does ADOS now have? You have no color, man? I think they took away your black.
We may get to Kamala today.
Okay.
You have to stick around.
All right. I'm sorry. So it's a valid question, though, right? What is up with that?
It's a very valid question, and I have a substantial answer for it.
Okay.
So,
right. Well, this would be a doozy.
But we want to stick to Kanye right now.
Okay.
And the problem with Kanye is, if you notice, he mathematically can't win being president.
No.
But if he's serious about 2024,
this is a good warm-up.
This is a great dry run.
Yep.
You can build up, some political cachet.
He's even learning how to get on the ballot in different states.
So he can like dry run all the way through the process.
Sure.
And after that, he'll be ready for 2024, and he could give a big middle finger to the Democratic Party, which he despises.
Mm-hmm.
And give his right hand man, Bit Loki, a hand up or hand out, because
who's Bit Loki?
Big Loki, aka 45 Savage, because Kanye is playing the role of little Loki right now.
Okay, Big Loki. You got to explain the Loki bit. I don't think everyone knows this.
Oh yeah, from the last show, the comparison of the gesture or the Loki. So if you listen to the last show, it's basically they are trolls / what's a better word for it? Just they antagonize, right? I mean, for their own benefit.
Yeah, disruptor.
Yeah, disruptor. Mm-hmm. So that's a good point.
Yeah.
That's a good word for it. But yeah, the Democrats know, and they're trying to do everything they can, and they have been trying to do everything they can ever since Kanye showed any support for Donald Trump. I mean, they hauled him off last time to the insane asylum, if that's the proper word for it.
And to be clear, for people who are new,
right?
I think both of us, and I took Kanye seriously before we even knew each other. But for me personally, you have to listen to Kanye. You really have. It's like listening to Trump. It's just a different version of what is this word salad that's. And if you just listen and you keep an open mind, I remember when he announced this on stage, and he said, he started to get into, I was saying, Colette Colvin, the whole story about her instead of Rosa Parks, and you could hear and see so-called black people going, "Oh man, what are you doing, man?" Underinformed, obviously. So
that's why I called him Little Loki, because it's the same thing with the birther from Trump.
Yeah,
he knew how it was going to land, but saying those outlandish things, Harriet Tubman didn't free black people.
Yeah.
You know, she only let them go work for other white people.
Yeah.
He knew what was going to happen.
And by the way, that's true. That's absolutely true. You just have to think about it for a second. But okay.
Well, that's the thing about slavery. Slavery was a choice. He does the same thing Trump does. He lays out this seemingly inflammatory statement, but when you sit down for him to clarify, it makes nothing but sense.
Exactly.
But he understands how the media cycle will pick it up.
Yep.
Say, hey, look how crazy Kanye, and they can't help. They can't help but to pick it up.
At this point, it's so crazy that they're just backing off. They're like,
he's crying and got 2020 shaved into his head, but they can't back off either.
Well, I think Kim is helping. I think she's really helping by trying to stave some of that off. I don't know what their relationship is like, but I see her only doing good things for him.
But the media is using it like she's going to get a divorce any day now. She's fed up. She's like when you read the headlines, it's like Kim Kardashian ... fears for husband's health or something. Well, but then when you read in it, she says nothing to the
nothing at all. No, nothing at all. And then they try to put that other kid in as a wedge. What's his name? G Willie.
Is it Chance the Rapper?
No. No, some guy that was part of the whole story. Some other guy she had been somewhere with, and Kanye, I think, no, he's cool.
Oh yeah, I mean, of course they're always going to use. I mean, and it's fascinating that how they do that with her. This is the same party that goes against people that try to quote unquote slut shame.
Yeah,
but when it's convenient for them, they'll just
it's true.
Yeah, they'll just dump on Kim. I have my own feelings about the Kim and the Kardashian Coven and Kanye, but that's not here nor there.
The Coven, yeah, I love that. All
right, but let's in this whole setup, Kanye is getting some very interesting help to get on the ballots. And with that said, let's get into number 3.
Donald Trump, to mix a couple of metaphors, drew a inside straight last time, right? He shouldn't have won. Everything fell into place in the last week of the election, and then he scraped through in the 3 states that put him over the top: Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin. Wisconsin's looking like the best chance that he has to win again of those 3 states right now. And he won by less than the margin. His margin was smaller than the number of votes that Jill Stein pulled in Wisconsin last time, which is around 30,000 votes. So they're hoping to recreate that magic, those dark arts, and make this happen again. And here's Kanye West, who, honestly, I don't know his motivation. I don't think anybody really knows his motivation in the media right now. It's unclear whether he is actively helping Trump. It looks like he's having some mental health problems, which is really tragic. And, he's a guy who is a very talented, creative thinker who thinks outside the box and might have been convinced himself that this is a good idea. But frankly, it didn't look like there was much really happening around him pointing to actual success. He got in really late. It didn't look like he was going to get on. It wasn't clear anyone serious was working for him. Frankly, the people who are actively involved trying to get him on the campaign right now, it's unclear to me how they got involved. I think that's the next big shoe to drop here is who put them in touch with Kanye. Who is coordinating this?
Oh, yes, this is the insinuation. Exactly. It's the magic. First of all, it's Trump voodoo. Maybe.
Dark arts.
Magic. Yes. Sounds like marketing to me.
Exactly what it sounds like. That was Cameron Joseph, which is a senior political writer. Yeah. But yeah, they're digging in and saying, and no, I'm going to be completely honest. This campaign was ready-made for Kanye to step in using some of Trump's people. I mean, I'm not one of those people. That's not this is clear what's happening, but it's completely legal.
Well, of course it is. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with it, but it's obvious.
And it's good practices. I mean, like the goal is to win. Yeah. And if you could keep points off the board, if you can increase that negative vote that we always talked about, even since the first show.
Yep, that's it's only a couple percent.
He's a negative vote amplifier, right? When he gets in there, what the role of Kanye West to Donald Trump is this. He is a tool, but I don't see it as a negative.
No.
He is a hired gun brought in to say all the things with just a bigger microphone as Trump has, but it's coming from, a so-called black person. And from that has swag.
And from his perspective, which is different.
And it comes from a creative person, which, as up until now, the Democrats thought they had cornered the market on creative people, according to John Legend.
So, only Democrats can be creative people. We know.
But this, we're talking about one of the most creative guys in, maybe in the last, 20, 30 years. When you talk about his impact to music, fashion, and just overall mastery of the media, the media cycle. So you can't poo-poo Kanye West away, and I think they understand that. So they're trying to just say, "Oh, he's working for Trump," basically. Right. I mean, that's the narrative. Yeah, one of three narratives, but the main one is he's just a tool for Trump, which I don't disagree with.
No,
but But I think Kanye gets out of it what he puts into it, because when he showed up to Trump Towers after 2016, then he pops up as a billionaire.
Yeah.
And he was like 50 million in debt. How you go from 50 million in debt to being a billionaire?
Well, I've never believed his billionaire stories. I mean, I just don't know. And, calculating net worth is very difficult.
Well, he's a Kardashian billionaire, just like how they said, his
Kylie's a billionaire.
Yeah, exactly. But he's worth a lot of money.
Yeah,
he's a very rich person.
Yeah, for sure.
And he's only getting richer with the affiliations that he's making. And he's beyond cancel culture.
That's what's so. I mean, they're trying everything right down to, I'm sorry, he has mental health issues and his wife is a slut, and still that doesn't work. None of it doesn't work. They're going to go after their kids next. You watch. It's going to be Kanye, danger to the kids. Kim takes the kids away from Kanye. Watch, I predict it.
Write it down. And I don't agree with you at all. So Kanye,
you don't think the media will do that?
No, I will. I said right now. I don't disagree.
Disagree. I'm sorry. Okay. Yeah.
I don't disagree with you. Yeah. I mean, that there's no limit to what this liberal media will do to a black man when he steps out of his box.
That's right.
And this goes to show you, that it is a plantation over there.
Yeah.
It is you're saying full-fledged 100% plantation, because, well, I'll talk about it later, what tactics they used to get him back in control. But Kanye has been meeting with some very interesting people during this 2020 election.
As Kanye West continues to pursue his quest to appear on the presidential ballot this November, a source tells Reuters the Trump-supporting rapper recently met with White House advisor and Trump's son-in-law, Jared Kushner.
Oh, yeah.
The New York Times, which first reported the meeting, said it took place in Colorado last weekend and also included President Donald Trump's daughter, Ivanka, who's also a top White House advisor. West appeared to confirm the meeting in a tweet late Tuesday night, saying they discussed a book on empowering Black Americans, and he offered to do a live interview with the Times.
I just haven't had the time to word it in the most elegant way possible.
The rapper and clothing designer announced his last-minute presidential campaign, followed by a series of rambling public remarks that have raised questions about his intentions and his mental health.
I think that's the actual story I sent to you when Tina thought I was getting a booty call. I think that was the one about Powernomics. I think that's it.
Yeah.
I have not read the book yet.
I haven't either. But it's just interesting that Kanye is meeting with Kushner
and Trump
and Ivanka Trump.
Yeah.
They're not hiding this thing, and it's just.
No, I mean, I saw Jared Kushner in an interview. He's like, "Oh man, it's like unlike all you people, someone has different beliefs from me, different political beliefs. I still stay friends." And he said that was such a damn smirk on his face. It's like, "Come on, Jared, come on, man. We know what's going on."
Like I said, it's completely legal. I think it's a smart strategy, and if the Democrats had a way of doing this, they would, but they don't. I think Kanye. Well, we've talked about Kanye and maybe his affiliations with the family, aka the Christian Illuminati.
Mm-hmm.
So it makes nothing but sense that, and he knows how the media has treated him before. So whenever he can stick it to the media, he's going to do that.
How important do you think it is that his Sunday service and his being reborn, his belief in God, is that an extra important factor in this case? Do you think?
No, it's part. When you understand who they're targeting, and it's not who you think they're going to target. People think they're trying to target the young black voter, with Kanye. Those people are already quote unquote woke.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
or they're already so ingrained into the liberal culture that you can't move them.
Mm-hmm.
I believe Kanye is targeted towards the older
black
voter.
Black male, maybe specifically?
Male specifically, but
Mm-hmm.
Christian, conservative, not conservative politically. I'm talking about socially.
Mm-hmm.
And when you listen to the things he's talking about,
yeah, it's a lot of those
things.
Makes
me, he's targeting, if they start to play these clips, when people stop to listen, it's not going to work out well for the media.
West has been open about his struggle with bipolar disorder, and his wife, Kim Kardashian, has asked the public and media to grant him compassion. West's appearance as an independent on the ballot could possibly disrupt the race between Trump and former Democratic Vice President Joe Biden, if he were able to garner any votes in U.S. states where the contest is close. Last week, the Washington Post reported that West's campaign has so far filed petitions to appear on the presidential election ballot in 10 U.S. states, and that Republican operatives, including some with ties to Trump, were involved in efforts to support his candidacy in at least 5 of them, including Arkansas, Ohio, and Wisconsin. Trump on Tuesday told syndicated radio host Hugh Hewitt that he had not talked with West about the entertainer's campaign.
No, I'm sure he didn't. Sure he didn't.
Wink, wink, nah. It's like
he's got,
So Trump's people are showing up, working hard to get Kanye West on the ballot, and Kanye West is nothing but the bullhorn that's going to say all the things that need to be said that are true.
Right.
I mean, they're all true. I mean, it's not that he's lying. It's just that any other person, they could be canceled or written off, but every time Kanye West opens his mouth, it makes news. I mean, he has that same effect that Trump has.
And that's really the secret.
You have to report on it, right?
Yeah, that's really the secret. And as long as you add in there, it's obviously a mental episode. As long as you add that in there, his message still gets, that is the Trump playbook, really.
Yeah. But you know what? The Democrats and the liberal media are shooting themselves in the foot because people are looking like, I thought you were supposed to be for people with mental health issues.
Yeah, exactly.
I thought you were for black people being independent thinkers. But as soon as a so-called black man comes out and just questions things, he's crazy. You know what I'm saying? And not only he's crazy, but they laugh at it. You know, it's actually sick.
Of course, it's sick.
It does the job of exposing how hypocritical the people on the left are, and it's just not going to work out well for him. No. And a perfect example of this berating of Kanye and anybody that thinks like him, I have an interview with DJ Vlad and DL Hughley.
I swear, Terry Crews and Kanye West should get a room in the same fucking mental asylum.
Yeah,
I swear to God,
they should have kids.
They should have the same fucking medication.
They should make out.
What do they make niggas like that at?
I don't know, man. I don't know, but
if somebody's mentally ill, when people say the insane shit those men do, usually they live under a fucking underpass with a cardboard sign that said "Repent, Jesus is coming." They do. They're like, and I don't feel bad for people that can access help with just saying yes. They have the resources to do it. So it serves a purpose. But to denigrate to give people, I hope that I never give people who hate me or people like me comfort. I hope they never go, that really made me feel good.
Wow. Yeah, I've always wondered.
You see the all-out attack?
Yeah, but the first thing, what really happened to D.L. Hughley? Wasn't he on wasn't he on Saturday Night Live or something? And he just kind of melted away, and then he pops up from time to time looking like a pimp.
Right, they gave him the radio show out in L.A. You know what I'm saying? He has a huge brown and black.
That's what happened to him. Okay.
Following
brown and brown, my friend.
Right. I mean, but just tell me, I'm using Democratic.
I'm just messing with you.
Brown and brown
communities.
Okay. So that's why he has to cape for the Democratic Party, because when you're given that kind of
you get a gig like that, you got to do your work. You
have to push the agenda early in the morning, brainwashing people. He's kind of like the West Coast version of Charlemagne.
Got it.
Right? I mean, because he's on the West Coast.
What station is he on? Do you know what station he's on?
I don't recall what stations he's on.
I'll look it up.
But what pissed me off with this one is several things. I would never refer to another black man in the presence of a white man as a nigger.
No. But
I don't. And then Vlad, he said, "Where do you find these niggas at?" And Vlad's like, "I don't know." Yeah. Like, oh, so you agreeing with D.L. Hughley? I mean, this is what I'm talking about. It's like everybody gets a pass to just attack black men or black people in general, or so-called black people in general, when they don't participate in groupthink
in the system. Yeah, they're not on board.
And we see it, and he, like he said, I don't want to give comfort to white people. Well, you know what? Hold on a minute, because I have a clip of him doing it, but I just want to finish up what I'm saying here and let you chime in. To sit there and say that and then say, oh, they need to share a mental asylum, bro, you don't do, of all things, because we have a mixed company podcast, right? But there's certain things that you just don't do.
What's really
and
interesting,
one of them referring to another brother, no matter what.
What's interesting,
you don't do that.
I'm so desensitized to hearing a black man use the word. I didn't even think about it. Because I'm doing the show with you, yeah.
Right.
I know white people have no idea how that makes other black people feel. Not all, but some.
And the funny thing was, just before I clipped this, I didn't want to make the clip, 3 minutes long. They were going on and on about Terry Crews, and Terry Crews took the word coon and turned it into a positive leaning acronym, right? And they were like, you can't do that. You can't use a negative word, blah, blah, blah. And then he turns around and calls Kanye
the N-word. Yeah. Unbelievable.
Yeah. This guy, Vlad, we got to keep an eye on him. But D.L. Hughley, he's a disgusting human being. I'm just going to say that from the bottom of my heart. Because at the end of the day, as with anybody, you can disagree with somebody, just like if you have political disagreements with people. That's one thing, but to try to tear another black man down in the media off of using their flaws, that's a whole different thing. Like if you have a political because like me, I come here, I could see other black people, but it's on their views.
Yeah,
it's not on them personally. It's like, hey, you know what? This is what you say. Now let me counter that with this fact. And then you explain to me, you know what I'm saying, how you still have this, you know what I'm saying, understanding.
Mm-hmm.
But just to get on and to participate, because we all know what's happening here, and I'm going to reveal it in a minute, because this is a systematic teardown, and we've seen it before, and we'll see it again. And as I always say, no black man makes it out alive, and that's the truth. Bill Cosby, whoever, OJ, whoever, none of us, you know what I'm saying, make it out alive when you get to that level, because to get to that level, you had to make some deals with the devil.
You did mention two fine specimens there as your examples.
No, what I'm saying is, if Bill Cosby was still kicking the liberal talking points, it would have been brushed away.
Yep, groovy and good. You're so right.
That's my point.
Yep.
It's not the behavior, because of course, the way he did was terrible. But what I'm just saying is they'll co-sign the bad behavior as long as you're pushing their narrative. But as soon as you step out of line and won't push their narrative, what is Kanye? Kanye is a father. He's a businessman, billionaire, musician. You know what I'm saying? What negative and it's just juxtaposed to, I hate to do this, but how they look at Jay-Z. They give him all the passes in the world because if he pushes the liberal agenda. And as soon as he doesn't, they push him, they smack him down.
Of course.
So that's just, it's a systematic approach.
Jay-Z is completely tokenized. He's very useful for the NFL or whatever else. And he likes the other side of that. So.
Right, but as soon as he didn't back Colin Kaepernick, you saw they start pulling all the dirt out of his file.
Well, of course.
It's like, don't forget, we have a foul on all of you. We have to get to that point. But